and went to the Yunhai Housing Authority to handle the transfer procedures. The new property certificates would be ready in 3 days. Zhou Yuqin planned to hand over all the property certificates to the Xia Country Bank for safekeeping, to prevent himself from using these villas to secure loans from other banks. Going to Yindu tomorrow? Why the rush? Shen Jingyan looked at Shun Shiyan in surprise during dinner. Shen Shiyan replied, I sent a team to Yindu a week ago. So far, we have found 8 villas and 15 courtyards that are about to be sold, and I must go check them out. At this point, Zhou Yuqin paused and asked, brother-in-law, the interior decoration of those courtyards isn't very good. Are you sure you want to buy them? Zhou Yuqin responded without hesitation. Courtyards are a scarce resource in Yindu. As long as someone is selling, we should buy them, and the quality of the decoration doesn't need to be a consideration. I estimate that in a year or two, the local government will introduce purchase restrictions. Even if one has money, it may not guarantee the ability to buy a traditional courtyard house. Shen Shiyan asked, you want to sell them all off, will you? Shouldn't you keep 1 or 2? Zhou Yuqin replied, I'll keep 1 house each in Yin City, Guang City, and Peng City. As for which one to keep, that's up to your sister. I'm not involved. Shen Jingyan frowned slightly and said, what do you need so many houses for? Upon hearing this, Shen Shiyan was left speechless. His sister truly didn't realize how fortunate she was. How many women vie to marry into wealthy families for money, even marrying men decades older than themselves, only to become tools for childbirth? It's only after giving birth that they might receive a villa or some money as a reward from their in-laws. But Shen Jingyun, on the other hand, not only gets to marry the person she loves, but also becomes the first-generation lady of a wealthy family, with both money and villas at her disposal. She is practically the protagonist of an online novel. It's no wonder she could casually ask what one would do with so many houses. Zhou Yuqin said, I can't put all my assets in Yunhai. Sooner or later, I will have businesses in Yin City, Guang City, and Peng City. Having a house in these places will make traveling for work more convenient. Shen Shiyan curiously asked, brother-in-law, what are your plans next? Zhou Yuqin did not hide his intentions, stating, I plan to acquire or establish a telecommunications company. Shen Shiyan replied, aren't there already companies like Halu and IQ? Zhou Yuqin smiled and said, I'm talking about mobile communications. Halu and IQ are too inconvenient. I hope future phones will have features like voice chat, video chat, and daily payments. Shen Shiyan immediately said, that's impossible. Zhou Yuqin responded, we are in a technological era. There's nothing that can't be done if you can think of it. Shen Shiyan was somewhat unconvinced and said, let us not mention anything else, just the payment function. How would I pay when I go shopping in a supermarket? Zhou Yuqin replied, using a QR code. Shen Shiyan was taken aback and asked, what is a QR code? Zhou Yuqin shrugged and said, you'll know once I develop it. In this world, there were only barcodes, and QR codes had yet to be introduced. Once Su Yang developed the Mi Xin app, Zhou Yuqin would have her continue leading the team to develop QR codes. Zhou Yuqin's plan was to secure the patent for QR codes first, and then promote the Mi Xin app. QR codes are crucial in the payment sector. They are a true game-changer capable of altering people's lifestyles. With QR codes, other mobile communication apps would find it hard to compete. The next day, Shen Shiyan flew straight to Yin City. Another day later, Su Xiaowan took the old man and the old lady back to northeast Jishur. Su Binglin's re-examination results were excellent, showing no significant difference from a normal person. The elderly couple had grown tired of staying in Yunhai and left the same afternoon the re-examination was completed. Shen Shiyan's efficiency is remarkably fast. In just 1 week, he negotiated 8 villas and 16 courtyard houses in the capital city. Most of the villas have a construction area ranging from 1,000 to 2,000 square meters, and their locations are quite favorable. The construction areas of the courtyard houses vary. The smaller ones are around 200 square meters, while the larger ones can be as much as 1,500 square meters. The prices range from over 10 million to several hundred million. After receiving a call from Shen Shiyan, Zhou Yuqin personally flew to the capital city to tour all these courtyard houses, both big and small. Although these courtyard houses are somewhat outdated and the renovations leave much to be desired, they possess significant cultural and historical value. Once housing prices soar, the commercial value of these courtyard houses will also become apparent. A villa may bring Zhou Yuqin a return of 1 to 2 times his investment at most, but courtyard houses are different. If held for 4 to 5 years, it's quite possible for their value to increase 4 to 5 times. Chapter 324. Date with Su Yang Romance Restaurant in Yindu. Zhou Yuqin sat by the window, looking down at his phone. It had been 2 weeks since he purchased shares in a tech company. During this time, technology stocks in a certain country had surged dramatically. The share price of the tech company rose by 38%, which was considerable, yet it ranked 78th in terms of growth. This meant that 77 other tech companies had seen their share prices increase by more than 38%. The situation was beyond crazy. Yesterday, Zhou Yuqin had signed purchase agreements with over 20 homeowners and then went to a local real estate office to handle the paperwork. Upon learning that someone had spent 30 billion on 24 properties, everyone at the real estate office was shocked. Such wealth was astonishing. Special arrangements were made, and the head of the registration department personally took them to an office to process the transfer. After settling the property matters, Zhou Yuqing contacted Su Yang to have lunch at the romance restaurant. This restaurant was one of the most expensive in Yindu. With a chef who had worked at several renowned Western restaurants and was well regarded in the industry, the restaurant catered to a maximum of 8 tables for lunch and dinner, with a minimum charge of 5,000 per table, quite pricey. After a while, a young girl in her 20s, looking beautiful, walked in. She wore a white knitted jacket on top and tight jeans below, presenting her curvy figure in a simple yet fashionable way. "Are you Yuqing's cousin?" The young girl scanned the room and walked directly to Zhou Yuqing, asking softly. Zhou Yuqing looked up, stood up, and smiled. "Yang. I remember the last time we met was 7 years ago when you were in the 2nd year of middle school. Time flies, and you've grown into a lovely young lady. If I saw you outside, I might not even recognize you." Su Yang, with her bright and straightforward personality, responded, "Cousin, you're only 5 years older than me. Can you please not sound so old?" Zhou Yuqing chuckled. "All right, I admit my mistake. Please, have a seat." They both sat down, and Zhou Yuqing handed the menu to Su Yang. "I've already ordered everything I want. You can just order whatever you like." Su Yang looked at the prices behind the dishes and gasped. "Cousin, the Western food here is so expensive." Zhou Yuqing smiled. "I'm treating you, so why worry?" Su Yang's eyes lit up, and she grinned. "Then I won tea hold back." That said, she only ordered 3 relatively inexpensive dishes. Zhou Yuqing appreciated her consideration, took the menu back, and added 2 more dishes and a soup before handing it to the waiter. Su Yang said, "Cousin, I can't eat this much." Zhou Yuqing laughed. "If you can't finish it, just take it home. I want to let my employees go hungry." Su Yang shrugged and replied helplessly, "All right then. You're the boss, you make the rules." The two chatted for a while and quickly became familiar with each other. During dinner, Zhou Yuqing asked about the development of the app. Yang, what's the situation with the app? Is it difficult?" Su Yang nodded and replied, "The difficulty is quite high." After Zhou Yuqing sent the app's proposal to Su Yang, she immediately reported it to the school. The openness of Yindu University is much greater than in the past. For software design work that can both provide salaries and enhance students' abilities, the school not only made it very convenient, but also specially allocated a workspace for Su Yang. Of course, this requires paying rent. As the campus beauty and top student of Yindu University, Su Yang has considerable influence. In just one day, she gathered 24 top talents from the computer science major. After receiving Zhou Yuqing's approval, Su Yang offered them a monthly salary of 15,000, but with a 1-month probation period. If their abilities and skills were not satisfactory, Su Yang could let them go at any time. It turned out that the computer science students at Yindu University were indeed very capable. After more than half a month of work, each one performed well. In the past, the development team for the app only had 10 people and took 80 days to complete the first version. However, that version could only send basic messages and images. The proposal Zhou Yuqing provided was equivalent to the 4th version from the past, which not only allowed sending messages and images, but also included features like Shake to Chat, friend circles, voice calls, video chats, and an online version of the app. Therefore, to fully develop the app would take at least a year. Zhou Yuqing asked, "Do you need to find some experienced software programmers from outside to help you?" Su Yang shook her head and said, "No need. Cousin, I want to hire academician Wu Xingyan from our College of Computer Engineering as our development department's consultant at a high salary. What do you think?" "Academician?" Zhou Yuqing put down his knife and fork, surprised. "You can invite a national academician? Regardless of the past or this world. Anyone who becomes an academician is undoubtedly a genius at the pinnacle of their industry. According to the all-around development system standards, they can master at least 80% of their field. Having such a person as a guide would definitely be a tremendous boost for the app development team." A hint of pride flashed in Su Yang's eyes as she said, "As long as I can rank in the top 3 in my major courses next semester, Professor Wu will recommend me to become her graduate student." Zhou Yuqing happily asked, "That's great. What was your ranking in the major courses last semester?" Su Yang raised an eyebrow and replied, "Of course it was 1st place. Otherwise, how could I have such treatment? If you agree, I'll take your proposal to Professor Wu tomorrow and ask her to come on board. Last year, I went to a company for research with Professor Wu, and her salary was 100,000 a month." At this point, Su Yang paused and looked at Zhou Yuqing with her beautiful eyes. Zhou Yuqing said, "As long as we can invite academician Wu, money is not an issue. How about this? You can raise the monthly salary to 120,000. Su Yang gave a thumbs up and said, "That's generous." Zhou Yuqing raised his glass of red wine and said, "This is a must. Come, let's toast to your success." Su Yang also lifted his glass and clinked it with Zhou Yuqing's, saying, "This is essential." Zhou Yuqing couldn't help but smile. Outside the Romanesque restaurant, Shen Shiyan watched Zhou Yuqing and Su Yang chatting happily, his brows furrowing. It turned out that when Zhou Yuqin was on the phone making the reservation, Shen Shiyan happened to overhear. So, he drove over secretly and witnessed the scene before him. Chapter 325. Is Zhou Yuqin cheating? Who is that girl? A mistress? Or a female online friend? Shen Shiyan picked up his phone and directly dialed Zhou Yuqin's number. Brother-in-law, what are you busy with? Not busy. What's up? Nothing much. It's noon. How about we grab lunch together? I've already eaten. You and your team can go eat. After hanging up, Shen Shiyan's frown deepened. Already eaten? You're clearly still eating. Damn it, you're cheating. I have to expose you. Shen Shiyan opened the camera function on his phone. Due to the distance, the phone's resolution wasn't great, but he exerted a lot of effort to take a picture of the two. He sent the photo to Shen Jingyun and immediately called her to explain the situation. Shen Jingyun was having lunch in the company cafeteria. After listening to Shen Shiyan's report, her expression remained unchanged. Sure too, just because your brother-in-law is having lunch with a beautiful girl at a Western restaurant doesn't mean he has done something wrong. I trust his character, so you shouldn't be so suspicious. Shen Shiyan anxiously replied, Sister, what kind of person is your brother-in-law now? A billionaire. There are countless beautiful girls out there who would try everything to get close to him. If something happens, it will be too late for you to regret it. Shen Jingyun paused for a moment, holding her chopsticks, and said, If your brother-in-law has an affair, it just means I misjudged him. I would break up with him. But I wouldn't regret it, nor would I need to. Shen Shiyan suddenly felt like the anxious one, saying, Sister, I really admire your calmness. After their conversation, Shen Shiyan didn't leave but continued to hide in the car, keeping an eye on Zhou Yuqin and Su Yang. On the other side, Shen Jingyun's friend Luo Xinxin put down her chopsticks and said, Jingyun, is Zhou Yuqin cheating? Shen Jingyun rolled her eyes and replied irritably, No way. He is on a business trip in Yindu. Luo Xinxin pouted, Come on, I heard your conversation. Jingyun, I think you need to ask Zhou Yuqin. Ask what? Ask him where he is now and who he is with. If he tells the truth, it means he has got nothing to hide. If he lies, then you should be cautious. I believe trust is the most important thing in a relationship. What is the foundation of trust? Honesty. Now is a perfect opportunity to test him. Shen Jingyun thought about it and realized Luo Xinxin had a point, so she picked up her phone and dialed Zhou Yuqin. Luo Xinxin immediately perked up her ears. Hubby, what are you busy with? Having lunch with a beautiful lady. Shen Jingyun glanced at Luo Xinxin and smiled. Beautiful lady? How beautiful? Is she prettier than me? In my eyes, you are the most beautiful, absolutely perfect. The lady in front of me is just a bit less. She can score 99. 9. Could you not bring me into your compliments for my sister? A woman's voice came through Shen Jingyun's ear. Your cousin? Hearing the name, Shen Jingyun immediately remembered that the child of Zhou Yuqin's uncle's family was studying at Yindu University. Honey, was that Su Yang speaking just now? That's right. Yang Yang. Say hello to your sister-in-law. Hello, sister-in-law, I'm Su Yang. Hello, Su Yang. Grandpa and Grandma often praised you in front of us. When will you come to Yunhai to visit? I'm currently working for my cousin, so I definitely can't come recently. If I have time during the winter vacation, I'll come to see you. Just don't find me annoying when the time comes. After chatting for a while, the two women hung up the phone. Shen Jingyun breathed a sigh of relief and said, That girl is my husband's cousin. Luo Xinxin laughed. Are you relieved now? Shen Jingyun forced a smile. I wasn't worried at all. Luo Xinxin replied, You're just being stubborn. Go away. Shen Jingyun shot her a glare and suddenly remembered that Shen Shiyan was still monitoring things, so she quickly sent him a text message. After seeing the message, Shen Shiyan dared not stay any longer and immediately drove away. After lunch, Zhou Yuqin followed Su Yang into Yindu University. Yindu University is undoubtedly the best in the region. With Zhou Yuqin's college entrance examination results, he could have entered this school, but he ultimately chose Yunhai University. Unexpectedly, after that incident, he didn't even manage to get a bachelor's degree certificate. Entering the research room of Su Yang's team, he saw more than 10 university students typing away on their keyboards. Upon seeing Su Yang, a girl wearing thick glasses stopped and smiled. Boss Su. Who is this handsome guy? A short girl next to her teased. Could he be your Prince Charming? Clearly, these two girls had a good relationship with Su Yang. Otherwise, they wouldn't joke like that. Hearing the girls, everyone else looked up at Zhou Yuqin. Su Yang shot back. Xiao Lei Zhangya. You two better be careful with your words in front of the real boss. Otherwise, if you don't get your monthly salary, those lovely bags and clothes will be out of reach. The girl with glasses said. The boss? Is this the wealthy cousin you've been talking about? Su Yang snapped his fingers and said, Correct. Let me introduce. This is Mr. Zhou Yuqin, the investor behind our research team. Let us give him a warm welcome. The group of over 10 university students stood up and applauded, making Zhou Yuqin quite embarrassed. Giving Su Yang a fierce glare, Zhou Yuqin said, Please sit down. This is the top university in the region. We don't need to put on a show. He continued, I'm here mainly to visit everyone. See your working environment and progress. A man in the group shouted, Mr. Zhou, since you're visiting us, did you bring anything? Zhou Yuqin chuckled. What do you want to eat? The man replied, fruits, snacks, drinks. Zhou Yuqin raised an eyebrow and said, I didn't bring those things. However, I can give Su Yang 100,000 yuan specifically to buy you fruits, snacks, and drinks. Long live Mr. Zhou. Mr. Zhou is mighty. Everyone began to cheer. Looking at the more than 10 vibrant university students in front of him, Zhou Yuqin felt that his mindset had become much younger along with them. Next, Zhou Yuqin inquired about the development progress of the Mi Xin app, which could be described in 8 words, neither fast nor slow. When asked about any challenges in the development process that needed to be addressed, everyone raised their hands. Zhou Yuqin asked everyone not to rush and to speak one by one, and he would resolve each issue individually. As a master of software engineering acknowledged by an all-encompassing development system, Zhou Yuqin could almost be described as a genius in the field of software development. No matter what kind of problem was raised, Zhou Yuqin could provide the best solution within 10 seconds. Chapter 326, Success in Developing Temple Escape. Incredible. This level of skill can rival that of academicians. I bet that Su's cousin is definitely an academic powerhouse, or rather, a genius-level figure, including Su Yang. Everyone was astonished by Zhou Yuqing's terrifying abilities. Many girls looked at Zhou Yuqing with admiration in their eyes. Zhou Yuqing stayed in the research room for 2.5 hours, and only left with Su Yang once everyone had no further questions. On the way, Su Yang asked in disbelief, Cousin, you are amazing. How do you know so much? Zhou Yuqing smiled and replied, Did you forget? I was the top scorer in the college entrance examination in Xinjiang province. Su Yang said, Those classmates who just listened to your lecture are all top scorers from various regions, but they aren't as impressive as you. Zhou Yuqing shrugged and said, What can I say? I'm a genius among geniuses. Su Yang pursed her lips, left speechless. After chatting with Su Yang's research team, Zhou Yuqing finally felt relieved. Hey, Brother Chun, Temple Escape has completed testing. Just after returning to the hotel, Zhou Yuqing received a congratulatory call from Zheng Tong. Among the 4 games being developed by Yuechen Game Company, Temple Escape had the least difficulty and was only making a mobile version, so the progress was very fast. Great. When do you plan to launch? Next Friday at 8 p.m. It was Wednesday now, so there were still 9 days until Temple Escape met the players. Alright, I'll leave the promotion and distribution of Temple Escape entirely to you. I want to interfere, and I hope this game can achieve great success. Thank you for your trust. Brother Chun, I believe there won't be any issues. The next morning, Zhou Yuqing, along with Shun Shiyin and his home-buying team, arrived at Yindu Airport. However, their destinations were different. Zhou Yuqing was headed to Yunhai, while Shun Shiyin and his team were going to Pengcheng. At 4:30 p.m., Zhou Yuqing arrived at the kindergarten to pick up Xiao Yeye. Daddy, you're finally back. I thought I was going to miss you to death. Xiao Yeye hugged Zhou Yuqing's neck, her adorable face beaming with pure joy. Zhou Yuqing's heart melted as he said, Sweetheart, Daddy missed you so much. Now tell me, what do you want to eat this afternoon? Upon hearing this, Xiao Yeye's face lit up. I want to eat vinegar stir-fried shredded potatoes, sweet and sour pork, and braised lion's head. Zhou Yuqing chuckled and said, Did you plan this already? Xiao Yeye giggled. Last night, Mommy told me you were coming home today. So we went to the supermarket and bought a lot of ingredients. Zhou Yuqing pretended to be angry. Oh, so you two had it all planned out. Xiao Yeye burst into laughter. When they got home, Zhou Yuqing turned on the TV for Xiao Yeye to watch cartoons while he headed straight into the kitchen to get busy. Shortly after, Shun Jingyun returned home. Honey, did everything go smoothly? Wearing slippers and loungewear, Shun Jingyun walked into the kitchen and hugged Zhou Yuqing from behind, softly asking him in his ear. Zhou Yuqing smiled and replied, Everything went very smoothly. Shiyin has completed all the preparations. I just need to go over to sign and make the payment. Honey, you're unusually affectionate with me today. Are you feeling guilty about something? Shun Jingyun was taken aback and said, Guilty? How could that be? Zhou Yuqing turned down the heat and gave Shun Jingyun a strange look, saying, Did you contact me yesterday afternoon because you received a call from Shiyin? You know about that? Shun Jingyun's expression changed slightly, and she quickly explained, Honey, it's not that I don't trust you. It's just, I'm a bit worried. Worried about what? Zhou Yuqing asked. Worried that you might be taken away by another woman, Shun Jingyun replied. Zhou Yuqing rolled his eyes and said, Are you trying to fool a child with that? Shun Jingyun playfully pouted, So you're not going to forgive me? Zhou Yuqing replied casually, It's not hard to get my forgiveness. You just need to agree to one condition. What condition? Shun Jingyun asked. I secretly bought you a few outfits in Yindu, and you need to wear them for me, Zhou Yuqing said. It's just a few outfits, I can wear them for you. Shun Jingyun paused when she saw Zhou Yuqing's slightly lewd expression and asked, What outfits? Zhou Yuqing raised an eyebrow and replied, Flight attendant uniform, nurse outfit, office lady attire. Black stockings. Shun Jingyun's face instantly turned bright red. Zhou Yuqing, you are such a pervert. Zhou Yuqing unhappily said, I call this couple's fun, okay? Shun Jingyun huffed, and turned to walk outside. When she reached the kitchen door, she stopped and asked, "How did you know Shi Yan called me?" Zhou Yuqin said, "I caught this guy taking a photo of me with his phone, then you called me. I wasn't sure if Shi Yan had contacted you. So I just played a trick on you, and you fell for it." Shen Jingyun gritted her teeth and said, "You are too cunning." Zhou Yuqin replied proudly, "Thank you for the compliment." That night, under Zhou Yuqin's persistent persuasion, Shen Jingyun finally gave in. Zhou Yuqin's happy life began from that moment. At 8 in the morning, a burst of music woke Shen Jingyun up. She opened her sleepy eyes, grabbed her phone from the bedside, and answered it. "This is Shen Jingyun. Who is this?" "Hello, Ms. Shen. This is Eva Roy from the Mike Publishing Group." A crisp voice like a lark entered Shen Jingyun's ears. However, the pronunciation was slightly off, making it a bit uncomfortable to listen to. Upon hearing it was someone from the Mike Publishing Group, Shen Jingyun's body jolted, and she sat up, asking, "Ms. Roy, what can I do for you?" Eva Roy replied, "I wanted to inform you that tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, according to the local time of a certain country, your fantasy novel Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone will be available in major bookstores across the country. I will be in charge of this novel from now on. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me directly." A hint of joy appeared on Shen Jingyun's face as she asked, "When can we know the sales results for the first day?" Eva Roy replied, "We should know the results by around 10 a.m. the next day. Don't worry, I will inform you as soon as I have the information." Shen Jingyun said, "Okay. Thank you." After hanging up the phone, she saved Eva Roy's number. Just as she was about to get dressed, Xiaoye suddenly pushed the door open and rushed in. "Mom, shame on you. It's so late and you're still in bed." Shen Jingyun pretended to be angry and said, "You little Yeye, you've learned to tease your mom now. Come here, let's see if I won't spank your little bottom." Upon hearing this, Xiaoye immediately climbed onto her bed, stuck out her little bottom, and while shaking it, said, "Go ahead, go ahead." Chapter 327. The novel is a hit, haha. Shen Jingyun couldn't stop laughing as she was teased by Xiaoyu. She hugged her tightly and gave her a big kiss on the cheek, saying, "Mommy loves you so much." Xiaoyu returned the kiss and said, "Xiaoyu loves you too." Zhou Yuqing stood at the door with a backpack and said, "Ew, it's time for us to go to school." Xiaoyu responded with a sound and climbed down from the bed. Zhou Yuqing added, "Honey, breakfast is on the table, don't forget to eat." Remembering the embarrassing scenes from last night, Shen Jingyun shot Zhou Yuqing a glare and said, "Got it." Zhou Yuqing smiled proudly at her and left the house with Xiaoyu. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was about to meet the readers, and Shen Jingyun felt both worried and excited. On Friday night at 10 o'clock, the first day sales figures for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone came out, 200 copies. Upon learning this number, Shen Jingyun was greatly disappointed. She had thought that at least 5,000 copies would be sold on the first day, but it was less than half of that. Looking at the second book in the Harry Potter series that she was writing on the computer, she felt a wave of frustration. She got up and walked into Zhou Yuqing's study, sitting on his lap, and sighed, "Honey, the first day sales of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone are really not good, only 200 copies." Zhou Yuqing laughed and said, "How can that be considered not good? Honey, you're just a newcomer. Achieving this on the first day is already among the best for newcomers. But don't forget, we spent over $1 million to print 200,000 copies and over 2 million on promotion. The real promotion hasn't even started yet. The results from the first 3 days don't count. The real explosive period starts after that. Tonight, the promotion will be launched on social media, and online marketing will also promote it vigorously on major forums. So whether Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone will be a hit or a flop will be determined on the third day." Shen Jingyun breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Honey, to be honest, I've been quite nervous and anxious these past few days, fearing that Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone would fail." Zhou Yuqing gently stroked her hair and said, "Even if you don't believe in yourself, you should believe in me. The idea and outline for Harry Potter came from me. I'm a genius storyteller, and you're a writing genius. Together, we are unbeatable. Even if the final sales of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone are not satisfactory, it won't be our fault." Shen Jingyun asked, "Then whose fault is it?" Zhou Yuqing replied confidently, "Of course, it's the reader's fault. It just shows they don't know good work when they see it." Shen Jingyun chuckled, "You can say something like that. Your face is really thick." Zhou Yuqing said seriously, "Darling, I've already earned enough money for us to spend for 10 lifetimes. So the outcome of the Harry Potter series of fantasy novels isn't important. What matters is the process. Whether it's the creative process or the marketing process, we must strive to do our best, and then calmly accept success or failure." Shen Jingyun nodded and smiled. "Honey, I didn't realize you had a talent for being a psychologist. After hearing what you said, I feel much more relaxed." Zhou Yuqing picked her up and said, "I'm not just a psychologist. I'm also a physician, the kind that gives you injections." Shen Jingyun playfully whispered in his ear, "I'll go change into a nurse's outfit." Zhou Yuqing replied, "Let's go together." Soon, a fierce battle broke out in the bedroom. The next evening at 8 o'clock, a top-tier singer from a certain country, Dalia, praised Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on her Twitter, saying that the novel was incredibly captivating and made her feel an urge to practice magic and fly on a broomstick. Although Dalia's comment was brief, it had a tremendous impact on her millions of fans. The sales of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone the next day were only 500 copies. But after Dalia's promotion, the sales skyrocketed to 85,000 copies on the third day. This was still because the publishing group had only printed 100,000 copies. Otherwise, breaking 200,000 copies wouldn't have been impossible. Countless bookstores called the publishing group, requesting them to send over a batch of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone as soon as possible. The publishing group responded swiftly, mobilizing 3 printing factories and managing to print 100,000 copies within just 24 hours, distributing them to major bookstores. Within a day, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was sold out again. Miss Shun, sorry to disturb you at this hour. At 3 in the morning, Shin Jingyun was awakened by a call from Eva Roy. Ms. Roy, is there an urgent matter? Ms. Shun, your 200,000 copies of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone have all sold out, and we urgently need to print more. Since you chose self-finance printing, our publishing group requires your authorization. Upon hearing this, Shin Jingyun was overjoyed. That's great. Ms. Roy, how many do you think we should print? Based on information from major bookstores and online pre-sales, a conservative estimate would be to print an additional 500,000 copies. So many? Ms. Shun, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone has already created quite a stir in the country, and online reviews are overwhelmingly positive. 500,000 copies might not even be enough. Please wait a moment. I need to discuss this with my husband. Okay. Shin Jingyun walked out of the bedroom and went to Zhou Yuqin's study. Sure enough, Zhou Yuqin was still reading and hadn't gone to bed yet. Honey, I have some good news for you. The sales of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone have surpassed 200,000 copies, and a publishing group has called to request an additional print of 500,000 copies. What do you think? Zhou Yuqin has been paying attention to the situation in that region and was not surprised at all by the sales performance of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. After pondering for a moment, he said, "That's too few. Let's increase it by 1 million copies directly. I will have the 3 online marketing teams we previously hired take action immediately, aiming to sell that 1 million copies within 10 days. In less than 2 weeks, sales will exceed 1.2 million copies, and at that point, it will be hard for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone not to become a hit." Chapter 328 Sales Explosion, 1 million copies? Is that too much? There are hardly any authors in the world who can sell 1 million copies of their novels. Shin Jingyun couldn't believe that she could sell 1 million copies. Zhou Yuqin chuckled. What is this? Do you believe that within a week, the publishing group will contact you to request a reprint? Shin Jingyun asked in confusion. Why? Zhou Yuqin explained. Because the publishing group 1T just sell Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in one country. Their direct sales range also includes Europe and South America. The success of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in that country has fully demonstrated the book's potential. Unless the leadership of the publishing group is out of their minds, they will definitely sell it to other regions. Shin Jingyun nodded and said, then I'll reply to them. Upon hearing that Shin Jingyun requested a reprint of 1 million copies, Eva Roy agreed almost without any consideration. 20 minutes later, an electronic agreement appeared in Shin Jingyun's inbox. At the same time, Zhou Yuqin called the 3 heads of the online promotion team, asking them to create a buzz for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone online. These 3 heads were introduced by Dia Li. They have long collaborated with various film groups or artists in the entertainment industry and are as good at promotion as any professional team. If it weren't for Dia Li's recommendation, they might not even take Zhou Yuqin's job. Soon, numerous posts about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone appeared on major forums. Today, I strongly recommend a fantasy novel Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The character development and storyline are quite remarkable. Dia Li truly deserves to be my dream goddess. I bought a copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone that she recommended, and though I've only read half, I can guarantee with my integrity that this book is definitely a good one. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone sold 200,000 copies in just 4 days, receiving rave reviews. I heard it was written by a female author from a certain country. Truly impressive. I finished reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone today. If 5 is the highest score, I give it a 5. The magic introduced in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone feels real. Everyone who reads the book should not practice it, let alone try it. With the joint efforts of the 3 online promotion teams, the influence of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone gradually grew. Many netizens couldn't resist and rushed to bookstores to buy it. Those who couldn't find it placed orders online, and the pre-sale volume once exceeded 200,000. It became a hit. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone exploded in popularity. In the government family compound, while cooking, Shin Jingyun received a call from Eva Roy. The two chatted in English for a long time. The nearby Daiwan barely understood a few sentences, which were about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. After hanging up the phone, a look of joy appeared on Shun Jingyun's face. Daiwan asked, "What is making you so happy?" Shun Jingyun smiled and said, "Mom, do you know how many copies of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone have been sold?" Daiwan rolled her eyes and said, "Stop keeping me in suspense. Just tell me." Shun Jingyun held up 5 fingers and said, "This many." Daiwan asked, 50,000 copies? Shun Jingyun shook her head, and Daiwan exclaimed, "Could it be 500,000 copies?" Shun Jingyun proudly replied, "Exactly 500,000 copies." Daiwan, in disbelief, said, "How is that possible?" Shun Jingyun smiled and said, "Nothing is impossible. This 500,000 is just what has been sold. If we include pre-sales, it has already reached over 800,000 copies. It was just due to our miscalculation that the publishing group didn't print enough books, causing some delays. However, their printing plant is working around the clock now. If everything goes well, the sales will surpass 1 million copies in 3 days." Even with Daiwan's composure, it took her a long time to digest this astonishing news. Previously, Xiao Zhou claimed he would sell Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone to 3 million copies, turn it into a series of movies, and sell the rights for hundreds of billions. Although I didn't say anything at the time, I always thought it was a pipe dream. I never expected the first step would go so smoothly. Shun Jingyun continued, "Right now, we are mainly relying on strong promotion. Whether it can continue depends on the feedback from readers. There's a very famous rating website in that region called Good Book. It has a total score of 5. And about 30,000 people have rated Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone with an average score of 4.73. Daiwan asked, "What rank does this score hold this year?" Shun Jingyun replied, "It's the number 1 in the past 3 years. However, as the number of ratings increases, the average score will inevitably drop." A look of satisfaction appeared on Daiwan's face as she said, "Jingyun, keep it up. You've made a great start on your literary journey, and there's a strong possibility you'll become a world-class writer in the future." Shun Jingyun nodded and said, "I will work hard." "Mom, I want to resign. What do you think?" Daiwan clearly had already considered this issue and smiled. "No matter what decision you make, your dad and I will support you." If it were before, Shun Jingyun wanting to resign would have met with Daiwan's disapproval. But now it was different. The appearance of Zhou Yuqing had given Shun Jingyun the freedom to choose her life. Not to mention, just the 1 billion fund that Zhou Yuqing left for Xiao Yiya was enough for the two of them to live lavishly for a lifetime. Daiwan and Shun Jingyun finished cooking and had just set the dishes on the table when Shin Chenggang came home from work. After playing with Xiao Yiya for a while, Shin Chenggang asked, "Where's Xiao Zhou?" Shin Jingyun replied, "He's gone to check on a problem with the chip development at the drone group." Shin Chenggang said, "Oh, this kid is getting busier and busier." Daiwan smiled and said, "Old Shun, I have good news for you. Your daughter is about to become a world-renowned writer." Shin Chenggang raised an eyebrow and asked, "Did the novel you wrote succeed?" Shun Jingyun replied, "In 3 days, the sales will likely break 1 million copies." Shin Chenggang said happily, "That's great. It's a pity that Xiao Zhou didn't come today. Otherwise, I would have to celebrate with him." Shun Jingyun sighed and said helplessly, "Actually, the entire concept and idea of the novel came from Yu Chen. I just organized it a bit. If I were to wear the title of a world-renowned author, I would feel quite undeserving." Shin Chenggang waved his hand and said, "You can't say that. No matter how good the outline is, if the writing isn't up to par, it won't become popular. However, it's good that you recognize this. Keep working hard and strive to write a truly world-class work that belongs entirely to you." Chapter 329, Escape from the Temple. Daiwan smiled and said, "Old Shun, not bad. You've learned to encourage people. I thought you only knew how to scold them." Shin Chenggang replied irritably, "For someone like Shirtu, if you don't scold him or give him a good beating, he wouldn't know his place. By the way, what is going on with Shirtu?" Shin Jingyun said, "I heard from Yu Chen that he is looking for suitable housing in a certain city." Shin Chenggang asked, "How is he doing?" Shin Jingyun replied, "In Yunhai and Yindu, Shirtu has done very well, with no mistakes at all. With this experience, I believe he won't have any issues in the new city either. He should be back in about half a month." Shin Chenggang nodded and said, "That's good. The selling price of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is 11.5. According to the distribution ratio and after deducting related costs, Shun Jingyun can earn 2.5 from each book. In order for Zhou Yuqing to recover the printing and promotion costs, Shun Jingyun needs to sell between 2.5 million to 3 million copies. Given the current popularity of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, selling 3 million copies is definitely achievable. Indeed, after receiving a lot of praise from readers, the sales volume increased day by day. After a week, the total sales reached 1.2 million, with pre-sales exceeding 300,000. Shin Jingyun had to print another 1 million copies. On the other hand, there was good news from the Yuechen Game Company. Thanks to the good reputation built up previously, After Escape from the Temple was launched, it surpassed 40 million downloads globally within just 24 hours, shocking many competitors. The most impressive part is that Escape from the Temple maintained the high reputation of Fruit Hero, Angry Birds, and casual elimination, receiving unanimous praise from gamers. Unlike before, the download price for Escape from the Temple overseas rose to 2. This was because almost all mobile game download prices increased to 2. And Zhou Yuqin didn't want to stand out, especially since it was beneficial for them as well. Of course, this also led to some complaints from players. In the president's office of Yueqin Game Company, Zheng Tong handed over last month's financial report to Zhou Yuqin. The 4 games brought in a total revenue of 480 million for the company, with casual elimination contributing the majority at over 45 million. Fruit Hero and Angry Birds only earned over 20 million through downloads and advertising fees. Escape from the Temple had only been online for 7 days, and the platforms had yet to settle accounts with Yueqin Game Company. However, based on its terrifying 200 million downloads and advertising revenue, the earnings would definitely exceed 300 million. After reviewing the report, Zhou Yuqin said, "Old Zheng, the operation of casual elimination is crucial. Make sure there are no mistakes." Zheng Tong nodded and said, "Understood. Casual elimination is still under continuous development. So far, we've reached 500 levels, and the development team's goal is 999 levels." Zhou Yuqin asked, "How many levels have the top players cleared now?" Zheng Tongdao replied, "Less than 1,000 levels. By the way, Brother Chun, the operations department came up with a way to attract players today, which is to reward the first 50 players who clear the 3,000th, 5,000th, 8,000th levels. And the final level." Zhou Yuqin immediately became interested and said, "Tell me more." Zheng Tongdao explained, "They mean to reward the first player who clears these levels with 500,000, the second player with 300,000, the third with 200,000, and the fourth to 10th with 100,000 each, while the rest will receive 50,000. Zhou Yuqin thought for a moment and said, "That's too stingy. Since we're doing this, let's be generous and double the number of players to the top 100 and also double the prize money. The first place will get 1 million, the second place 700,000, the third place 500,000, the fourth to 6th places will get 300,000. The 7th to 10th places will get 200,000, the 10th to 20th places will get 100,000, and the remaining 80 players will receive 50,000. Zheng Tongdao laughed. "With this, the players will go crazy." Zhou Yuqin said, "That's the idea. Also, have the development department make these 4 levels a bit harder. And no player is allowed to use any items. If they want to clear the levels, they need to show their real skills." Zheng Tongdao nodded. "Got it. Brother Chun, the performance of Temple Escape is really good. Should we give some rewards to the brothers in the development department?" Zhou Yuqin replied, "Just follow the usual rules." Soon, Yueqin Game Company released an advertisement, rewarding the first 100 players who clear the 3,000th, 5,000th, 8,000th levels, and the final level of leisure elimination. When players saw that the first prize was 1 million, those eligible to compete for first place went crazy. For a whole week, the revenue from leisure elimination items and advertisements exceeded 30 million, and then dropped to around 20 million. Spending a little money generated such huge revenue. Even Zhou Yuqin was somewhat taken aback. The next day, Zhou Yuqin went to Pengcheng to meet with Shun Shiyan and spent 3.6 billion to buy 22 villas. Shun Shiyan wanted to head to Guangqing immediately, but was stopped by Zhou Yuqin. "Shiyan, do you know what day after tomorrow is?" "What day?" Zhou Yuqin rolled his eyes and said impatiently, "Your sister's birthday." Shun Shiyan slapped his forehead. "How could I forget?" Zhou Yuqin continued, "I plan to throw a birthday party for your sister, gathering friends and family together. In front of everyone, I will propose to her. What do you think?" Shun Shiyan exclaimed, "That sounds great." Zhou Yuqin said, "You will come back with me, but don't tell your sister about my proposal." Shun Shiyan gave an okay gesture. "No problem. Brother-in-law, did you buy a diamond ring for my sister?" Zhou Yuqin replied, "Of course I did." Shun Shiyan curiously asked, "How many carats?" Zhou Yuqin replied, "A 5-carat pink diamond." "Wow." Shun Shiyan exclaimed, "How much does this cost?" Zhou Yuqin replied, $10 million. I had someone secretly bid for it at an auction on the island." Shun Shiyan sighed, "My sister is really too lucky." Zhou Yuqin said, "Hurry up and buy a plane ticket to leave. After the birthday party is over, you can go to the city." Shun Shiyan helplessly said, "Why is it always me who gets hurt?" Chapter 330, Birthday Surprise. On the day of Shun Jingyun's birthday, it happened to be Saturday. At 6 in the evening, Zhou Yuqin drove Shun Jingyun to the famous Starry Sky Hotel in Yunhai. As they got out of the car, Shun Jingyun helplessly said, "Honey, it's just a birthday. We could have had a meal at home, huh? Xin, what are you doing here?" Looking ahead, Shun Jingyun saw Luo Xinxin standing not far away. Feeling a bit confused, Luo Xinxin approached her with a smile. "Of course, I'm here to celebrate your birthday. Not just me, everyone from our department is here." Shun Jingyun glanced at Zhou Yuqin and asked, "Did you organize this?" Zhou Yuqin replied, "Yes." Luo Xinxin linked her arm with Shun Jingyun's and said, "Your husband wants to give you a surprise. Come on, everyone is waiting." Shun Jingyun shot Zhou Yuqin a glare and said to Luo Xinxin, "Right now, I only feel scared." They took the elevator to the 9th floor of the Starry Sky Hotel. Luo Xinxin pushed open the door to the banquet hall, and immediately, a wave of warm applause and cheers erupted from inside. The banquet hall was decorated warmly and romantically, with colorful balloons hanging on the walls, bright yet cozy lighting. And the whole scene could only be described as stunningly beautiful. As Shen Jingyun scanned the room, she saw Shen Chenggang, Daiwan, Shen Shiyan, Zhou Qingjian, Su Xiaowan, and Zhou Qing, along with many of her colleagues and close friends, totaling nearly 30 people. They were all clapping and smiling at her. Shen Jingyun covered her mouth, her face showing disbelief. "Mom." Little Yaya ran towards Shen Jingyun with her short legs. Shen Jingyun quickly picked her up and asked, "Aren't you at your grandparents' house?" Little Yaya giggled. "Uncle said we were going to celebrate your birthday tonight, so he brought us here." "Mommy, happy birthday." After saying that, she kissed Shen Jingyun on the cheek and took out a drawing she made. Shen Jingyun unfolded the drawing, which depicted a family of 3 playing on the grass. It was obvious that it was their family. "Thank you, sweetheart." Shen Jingyun kissed little Yaya. Zhou Yuqin smiled. "Give little Yaya to me, and you go greet everyone." Shen Jingyun handed little Yaya over to Zhou Yuqin, gritting her teeth as she said, "We'll settle this when we get home tonight." Zhou Yuqin shrugged and replied, "We'll talk about it then." Shen Jingyun greeted everyone separately and then looked at Su Xiaowan, saying, "Auntie, it's just a birthday. Was it really necessary for you to rush back from the Northeast?" Su Xiaowan smiled. "Today is a big day. Of course I want to witness it in person." Shen Jingyun was a bit puzzled, asking, "What big day?" Su Xiaowan showed a mysterious expression, saying, "You'll find out soon." Shen Jingyun remarked, "I feel like there's some kind of conspiracy today. Right, Mom?" Daiwan said, "It's just to celebrate your birthday. Where's the conspiracy in that?" Shen Jingyun replied, "Then why did you all rush us out, saying you wanted us to enjoy our time alone?" Daiwan said, "This is to give you a surprise." Shen Jingyun helplessly replied, "I'm completely in the dark right now. But seeing everyone gathered here, I'm really happy." Just then, the door was pushed open. Hotel staff wheeled in a food cart. Today, they were having a buffet, and the staff set out exquisite dishes and bottles of fine wine and drinks on the table. A burst of music began, and Shen Jingyun's close friend, the superstar Yang Lei, appeared on the stage and performed a warm and beautiful song, receiving enthusiastic applause from everyone. After the performance, Yang Lei looked at Shen Jingyun in the audience and said, "Dear, happy birthday. You didn't expect me to come, did you?" Shen Jingyun walked up to the stage, hugged Yang Lei, and asked, "How did you find the time to come?" Yang Lei smiled and replied, "It's your big day. How could I not come?" Shen Shiyan shouted, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm round of applause to welcome today's birthday star, Miss Shen Jingyun, and our superstar, Ms. Yang Lei, for a duet." The applause and cheers erupted. Shen Jingyun confidently said, "No problem singing. However, after we finish, we'll randomly invite people up to sing as well. We won't let the microphone stop. What do you all say?" Everyone responded in unison, "Good." Yang Lei smiled and suggested, "Dear, let us sing that song from our high school New Year's Eve party. How about it?" Shen Jingyun nodded and agreed. "Okay." Both were stunningly beautiful, and their singing skills would stand out even among professional singers. Their duet was like a celestial melody. Everyone was so engrossed in the performance that they forgot to eat, busy clapping and cheering. Su Xiaowan praised, "Dai Jia, Jingyun sings so well." Daiwan smiled and said, "She studied singing before and even wanted to be a star." But we didn't agree. Su Xiaowan remarked, "If Jingyun became a star, she would definitely be a top-tier singer." After the song, Shen Jingyun pointed at Shen Shiyan, who had shrunk back, and said, "Sure too, you were the one making noise down there. Now it's your turn, come up here." Shen Shiyan looked dismayed and said, "No way. Sis, you're not letting grudges last overnight, are you?" Shen Jingyun laughed. "Less talking. Are you coming up or not?" Shen Shiyan straightened his chest and said, "Fine, I'll go up." Amidst the applause, Shen Shiyan confidently walked up to the stage. Shen Jingyun handed him the microphone and went down with Yang Lei to eat. Shen Shiyan chose a slow love song, but his singing was so off-key, it was comical. The funniest part was that he was really into it. The audience was laughing uncontrollably. The director of the taxation department, Zhang Yiming, couldn't help but burst out laughing, saying, "Old Shun, didn't you say Shirtu often goes to karaoke? This level is too low. He is almost on par with you." Shen Chenggang replied irritably, "This kid can't sing as well as I do." Zhang Yiming said, "You really have no self-awareness at all. But to be honest, I haven't felt this relaxed in a long time." Shen Chenggang replied, "Who says otherwise? Being with young people makes you feel younger in mindset." Meanwhile, Yang Lei began chatting with Shen Jingyun. "Jingyun, to be honest, are you the internet singer Huayu?" After Shen Jingyun's song Possible was released, it went viral online, with a total download count reaching 60 million. After returning from a certain country, Zhou Yuqin wrote her another song, Legend of the Past, which once again caused a strong sensation in the music industry. Now, the downloads for Legend have surpassed possible, exceeding 80 million, and it is only about 20 million shy of Zhou Yuqin's irrelevant romance. Chapter 331 Proposal Ceremony. How could you think I'm Huayu? Shen Jingyun asked with a deliberately surprised expression. Yang Lei said, stop pretending. I might not have noticed, but I definitely recognized Legend. It's you. Shen Jingyun smiled and said, all right. I admit it's me. Yang Lei asked, what about Wu Ji? Is he your partner? Shen Jingyun replied, who else could have such a terrible name as nameless Wu Ji? Yang Lei chuckled, that's true. Jingyun, are you guys planning to live your lives as anonymous online singers? Shen Jingyun explained, singing is just our hobby, not our profession. Yang Lei sighed in relief, that's good. Shen Jingyun was taken aback, what do you mean? Yang Lei laughed, I want to buy the usage rights for Legend Impossible. Are you selling? Shen Jingyun rolled her eyes at her. Are you planning to offer $1 or 50 cents? Yang Lei replied, $1.50 is fine. Shen Jingyun said, forget it. There's no sincerity at all. Given that you came all this way to celebrate my birthday, I'll leave a song copyright usage agreement for you tomorrow. From now on, you can sing any of my songs, whether for performances or recordings. Yang Lei hugged Shen Jingyun's neck and gave her a big kiss on the cheek, happily saying, Jingyun, I really love you. Shen Jingyun wiped her mouth with a look of disdain. Yang Lei, are you disgusting? By the way, where's my birthday gift? You didn't come empty-handed, did you? Yang Lei replied, of course not. Now that you're a world-renowned author, I bought you a set of the top 10 best-selling English novels. Shen Jingyun was speechless. Even when giving a birthday gift, you remind me to study. I'm really too grateful to you. Yang Lei said proudly, you're welcome. As the host of the birthday party, Shen Jingyun certainly couldn't just entertain Yang Lei. After saying a few words to her, she and Zhou Yuqin each took a glass of red wine and walked around the banquet hall, thanking everyone for coming. After Shen Shiyan took the stage and started singing off-key, everyone completely relaxed. Even Zhou Qingjian was belting out a rock song, bringing the atmosphere to a climax. The food provided by the Starry Sky Hotel was top-notch, and everyone laughed and chatted while enjoying the music, making the entire birthday party full of joy. When everyone had nearly finished eating, the lights in the banquet hall suddenly dimmed. Everyone except Shen Jingyun knew that the main event was about to begin. Sure enough, when the lights came back on, Zhou Yuqin stood in the center of the stage, holding a microphone and gazing affectionately at Shen Jingyun below. Taking a deep breath, Zhou Yuqin slowly spoke, Jingyun, today is your birthday, and it's also the most nerve-wracking day for me. Ever since that incident 5 years ago, I thought I would never believe in love again until I met you. During the time we spent together, you completely opened my heart and made me believe that love exists in this world. I just hadn't encountered it before. Today, I wrote a song for you called The Rest of Our Lives, and I hope you will like it. When Zhou Yuqin's heartfelt confession echoed on stage, Shen Jingyun seemed to realize what he wanted to do. Her heart was filled with emotion and anticipation. As the melodious tune began, Zhou Yuqin started to sing. His voice was gentle and full of emotion. Each note seemed to express his feelings. The entire banquet hall fell completely silent. Not a sound was heard. The rest of our lives, the wind and snow are you. The ordinary is you. The simplicity is also you. The glory is you. The tenderness in my heart is you. Wherever I look is also you. As Zhou Yuqin skillfully conveyed the deep affection embedded in the lyrics, many young girls were moved to tears. Shen Jingyun was no exception. As the song neared its end, Shen Shiyan walked over to Shen Jingyun, took her hand, and softly said, Sister, come with me. Shen Jingyun was taken aback as she was led onto the stage. Just as the song finished, Zhou Yuqin put down the microphone, raised his hand, and snapped his fingers. A drone slowly ascended, flying over the crowd and landing in front of Shen Shiyan. He detached a box from the drone, opened it, revealing a pink diamond ring that sparkled beautifully under the lights. Wow, that's the pink heart that was auctioned on the island recently, valued at $10 million. $10 million? My goodness, that's enough for a medium-sized villa. I'm so envious of Jingyun. If only I had a husband like that. Many girls in the venue gazed at the dazzling ring, their eyes sparkling with excitement. Zhou Yuqin picked up the ring, knelt on one knee, and gently said, Jingyun, meeting you is the luck of my life. For the rest of our lives, you are my only one. Will you marry me? Marry him. Marry him. Marry him. The crowd shouted in unison. All eyes were focused on Shen Jingyun. Tears shimmered in her eyes, and a happy smile spread across her face as she extended her hand and said, I do. With the thunderous applause of family and friends, Zhou Yuqin placed the ring on Shen Jingyun's ring finger, and they embraced tightly. The applause and cheers grew even more fervent. Daiwan took off her glasses, wiping away her tears. Shen Qinggang, known for his tough demeanor, couldn't help but have red eyes. Shen Qingjian extended his hand to him, laughing, Brother Shun, can we call each other in-laws now? Shen Qinggang laughed heartily, of course. Su Xiaowan handed Daiwan a tissue and said, Mother-in-law, you are a university professor. It's better to be a bit more reserved. Daiwan took the tissue and smiled through her tears. We can start now. Shin Shiyin picked up the intercom and made a call. Soon after, a whooshing sound came from outside. Fireworks shot up into the sky and exploded with a bang, illuminating the night sky with colorful lights. Everyone rushed to the window to enjoy the beautiful fireworks display. Auntie, look, it's so beautiful, Xiao Yeye exclaimed, pointing at the fireworks outside with excitement. Zhou Qing smiled and said, look over there, it's also very pretty. Beside them, Zhou Yuqin wrapped his arm around Shun Jingyun's shoulder and said, honey, how do you like this birthday gift? Chapter 332. The aunt's family. Shin Jingyun glanced at the diamond ring on her hand and said proudly, at first, I was quite touched, but now I'm a bit angry. Zhou Yuqing was taken aback and asked, why? Shun Jingyun replied, because everyone knows the theme for today, except for me, the main character. Zhou Yuqing shook his head and said, no, there's one more person who doesn't know. Shin Jingyun asked who? Zhou Yuqing smiled and said Ziyu. Go away. Shin Jingyun lightly hit him and rested her head on his shoulder, gazing dreamily at the fireworks outside. After the fireworks show ended, the older middle-aged guests gradually left. The banquet hall transformed completely into a world of young people. Everyone sang, danced, and had a great time. By the time Zhou Yuqing and Shun Jingyun returned home, it was already 1 a.m. Xiaoyu had long fallen asleep at Su Xiaowan's place, and the house was empty. The two exchanged glances and embraced each other. Before long, clothes were strewn all over the floor. Shun Jingyun was unusually proactive. She initially had the upper hand, but unfortunately, her strength was limited, and Zhou Yuqing quickly subdued her. After a full 2 hours of tossing and turning, the battle finally came to an end. The next morning, Zhou Yuqing woke up suddenly from a nightmare. Sitting up straight. This was the first dream he had since practicing the Tai Chi visualization method. Shin Jingyun was awakened by Zhou Yuqing's movements. She opened her sleepy eyes and asked, honey, what's wrong? Zhou Yuqing shook his head and said, I had a nightmare. Shin Jingyun curiously asked, what was it about? Zhou Yuqing replied, I dreamed that the three of us were on a plane returning from a certain country, and then the plane was shot down. Shin Jingyun laughed and said, dreams are always the opposite. Zhou Yuqing nodded and said, it's still early. You can sleep a bit more. Shin Jingyun replied, okay, and wrapped her arms around his, saying, stay with me. Zhou Yuqing agreed, sure. Just as the two were about to go back to sleep, Shin Jingyun's phone rang. She picked it up and immediately became more alert. It was a call from her future mother-in-law, Su Xiaowan. Hello, Auntie. Mom, it's Ziyu. Ziyu, it's Sunday. Why are you up so early? I can't sleep. Mommy, can you come pick me up? I want to go out and play. Shin Jingyun showed Zhou Yuqing a bitter expression and helplessly said, all right, we'll be there soon. After hanging up the phone, Shin Jingyun yawned and said, honey, the princess has summoned us. Zhou Yuqing shrugged and said, the world is vast, but the princess is the most important. Let's hurry. The two quickly got dressed, freshened up, and rushed to Su Xiaowan's home. Xiaoyu was already awake. Upon seeing them enter, she immediately ran with her little legs and jumped into Shin Jingyun's arms. Shin Jingyun picked Xiaoyu up and asked, so, where do you want to go play today? No one knows a daughter better than her mother. Xiao Yeye called Su Xiaowan so early. It would be strange if there were no schemes involved. Sure enough, Xiao Yeye giggled and said, Mom, I want to go to the fairy playground. Shin Jingyun gave her little nose a playful poke and said, I knew it. Su Xiaowan walked out of the kitchen and said, Xiaoyu, Jingyun, you haven't had breakfast yet, right? Sit down and eat together. Shin Jingyun replied, thank you, Auntie. Su Xiaowan pretended to be dissatisfied and said, we're all family. Why say thank you? Shin Jingyun laughed and said, yes, Auntie, I was wrong to be so polite. She then asked, by the way, where are Uncle and Zhou Qing? I haven't seen them. Su Xiaowan replied, Zhou Qing went back to school early this morning. And your uncle went to the highway entrance to pick someone up. Huh? Zhou Yuqing curiously asked, Mom, who is Dad going to pick up? Su Xiaowan said, your little aunt and uncle. A hint of joy appeared on Zhou Yuqing's face as he said, great. I haven't seen them in 5 or 6 years. Mom, are they coming to Yunhai for something? Su Xiaowan nodded and said, they are coming to meet the in-laws. It turned out that Zhou Yuqing's cousin, Cheng Tao, had a girlfriend named Du Yi while studying at a university in South China, and her family was from Yunhai. After graduation, Du Yi was given a job at a financial company in Yunhai, while Cheng Tao stayed on as a teacher at the university. With over 300 kilometers between Huashan City and Yunhai City, the couple faced challenges in their relationship due to the distance. As a result, Cheng Tao decided to take the civil service exam. After 6 months of hard work, he finally passed and got a job at the forestry department in Yunhai. Although the forestry department was not prestigious within the government and held little power, the salary was good, and most importantly, it was stable. The young couple was very happy. Cheng Tao took the opportunity to propose a meeting between their families, and Du Yi agreed without hesitation. The agreed meeting time was today. After hearing this, Zhou Yuqing asked, where is Taozi living now? He has been here for more than half a month, and you haven't contacted him? Su Xiaowan said. I just found out he arrived in Yunhai. She continued, Xiaochun, you are now a big boss. If Taozi needs help in the future, you, as his older cousin, can't just stand by. Zhou Yuqing laughed and said, got it. That guy used to be quite handsome. After so many years, I wonder if he has changed at all. Su Xiaowan replied playfully, Taozi is still a big handsome guy. Besides, even if he has changed, he will definitely be better looking than you. After all, he has the foundation. Zhou Yuqing opened his mouth and helplessly said, you really are my dear mother. With a chuckle, Shen Jingyun couldn't help but laugh at Zhou Yuqing's gloomy expression. After finishing breakfast, Zhou Yuqing checked the time. It was almost 9 o'clock. He asked Mom, when will Dad and my little aunt and uncle arrive? Su Xiaowan said, you don't need to wait for them. Just take Xiao Yeye to play. Zhou Yuqing replied, let's wait a bit longer. I haven't seen my aunt and uncle for 5 or 6 years. It's not easy to come back, so I have to meet them no matter what. Su Xiaowan waved her hand and said, no need. I've already arranged with your aunt to have dinner at our place in the afternoon, and they won't be going back tonight. You all come back early, and we can have a meal together. Zhou Yuqing smiled and said, that's great. It would be best to invite Taozi and his girlfriend over to meet them. Su Xiaowan replied, Taozi will definitely come, but his girlfriend might not. Zhou Yuqing said, all right, we'll be there before 5 in the afternoon. I'll make sure to have a drink with my uncle. Soon, the family of 3 arrived at the amusement park. It was Sunday, and there were quite a few children at the amusement park. Just like before, Zhou Yuqing spent a considerable amount of money to buy super VIP tickets and spent the whole day joyfully playing with the little girl. Chapter 333 The in-laws want too much. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the family of 3 returned to Su Xiaowan's home. Aunt, uncle, Taozi, long time no see. Zhou Yuqing changed out of his slippers and greeted his aunt's family. Compared to 5 years ago, Aunt Zhou Yaling looked noticeably older. Although she was dressed in designer clothes and had made an effort to look good, it couldn't hide her rough skin and the wrinkles on her face. Uncle Cheng Yanxiu had been busy working on construction sites for years, his skin tanned from sun exposure, making him look 10 years older than Zhou Yaling. However, Cheng Yanxiu maintained a good physique, his facial features were well-defined, and he was undoubtedly a handsome man in his youth. In contrast, Cheng Tao was dressed much more fashionably. Today, he wore a suit and glasses, with thick, dark eyebrows. His facial features resembled Cheng Yanxiu's to some extent, exuding a stable aura, and he had an intellectual charm about him, almost unrecognizable from his childhood self. Xiaoyu. Zhou Yaling stepped forward, her eyes red with emotion, and said excitedly, it's been 5 years since we last met, you. After a moment of hesitation, she finally blurted out, you've grown up. Zhou Yuqing could sense Zhou Yaling's feelings towards him. He opened his arms and hugged her, then smiled. Aunt, my daughter is already over 3 years old. How could I not grow up? Zhou Yaling turned to look at Shen Jingyun and her daughter, saying, is this Jingyun and Xiao Yuer? Shen Jingyun smiled and replied, Aunt. Uncle, cousin, hello. I am Shen Jingyun. Xiao Yeye, greet them. Xiao Yeye obediently called out, hello, auntie. Hello, uncle. Hello, cousin. Huh. Upon hearing the little one's greeting, everyone couldn't help but burst into laughter. Shen Jingyun was both amused and exasperated, saying, sweetheart, did you forget what your dad's brother is called? Of course, it's uncle. Xiao Yeye exclaimed. Oh dear, Xiao Yeye, acting like a little adult, slapped her forehead and said, I just made a mistake. I should call him cousin. Hello, cousin. Can you forgive me? Cheng Tao laughed. Our little Yeye is so cute. Of course, cousin will forgive you. Sister-in-law, hello. Zhou Yuqing said, what's this? Are your eyes only on your sister-in-law and not on me? Cheng Tao adjusted his glasses and joked, cousin, when you and your sister-in-law stand together, who do you think everyone will be looking at? Damn. Zhou Yuqing laughed and scolded, you looked much more composed than before. But I didn't expect you to still have that cheeky mouth. Cheng Tao replied helplessly, maybe that's just how it is. People can change their circumstances, but not their nature. After some light-hearted banter, everyone took their seats. Zhou Yuqing smiled and asked, Aunt, uncle, how do you feel about meeting your future daughter-in-law and in-laws today? When can we drink to Taozi's wedding? As soon as these words were spoken, Zhou Yaling and Cheng Yanxiu's expressions immediately changed from sunny to cloudy. And Cheng Tao furrowed his brows, causing the atmosphere in the living room to become tense. There is something going on. Zhou Yuqing quickly realized that this meeting between the two families didn't seem to go smoothly. Zhou Yaling sighed and said, Yi is clearly a good girl, and both your uncle and I are very satisfied with her. But her parents have too high demands, which we simply can't meet. Zhou Yuqing raised an eyebrow and asked, what demands? Zhou Yaling replied, first, they want us to buy a house of no less than 120 square meters in Yunhai, and it has to be in a good school district. The property certificate must be in Yi's name. Secondly, the dowry needs to be extraordinary. Zhou Yuqing laughed and said, I thought it was a big deal. Both Taozi and Du Yi have housing fund loans. Just pay the down payment and take a loan of around 1.8 million. You can chip in a bit more, and it should be enough to buy the house. Right? As for the extraordinary dowry, that's even simpler. Just 10,001 yuan. I'll cover it as a gift for Taozi. Shut up, Su Xiaowan said irritably. If it were that simple, your aunt and uncle wouldn't be so worried. The school district house they mentioned must be bought outright, no loans allowed. And your aunt and uncle have to pay for it. Her family won't contribute a single cent. And the extraordinary dowry doesn't mean just 10,001. It means 1,000,001. What on earth? Zhou Yuchen exclaimed. Is this getting married or selling a daughter? Shen Jingyan said. A school district house of over 120 square meters, even in a less desirable area, would cost at least 5 million. With renovations and a dowry of 1 million. You'd need at least 7 million. Cheng Yinshu smiled bitterly and said, we've worked our whole lives and can't even come up with 1 million, let alone 7 million. Zhou Yuchen looked at Cheng Tao and asked, Taozi, what do you think? Cheng Tao's expression was unusually calm as he said 2 words, break up. A glimmer of appreciation flashed in Zhou Yuchen's eyes. This kid wasn't dazed. If he forced his parents to find a way to buy a house and gather a dowry, Zhou Yuchen would have to teach him a lesson. Cheng Yinshu opened his mouth to say something, but hesitated and swallowed the words. There was nothing they could do. The demands were too high for them to meet. Zhou Yuchen asked, does Du Yi have a younger brother? Cheng Tao nodded and said, that's right. Her brother is 3 years younger than Yi, and I suspect they want the 1 million dowry for their son. Zhou Yuchen pressed on, what about Du Yi? Hasn't she said anything about her parents' excessive demands? Zhou Yaling sighed and said, Yi is a good child. She was unwilling right from the start and was slapped by her mother, leaving the hotel in tears. Zhou Yuchen pondered for a moment and said, I think this matter really depends on Du Yi. If she has the courage to oppose her parents and insists on marrying only Taozi, then no one can do anything about it. Cheng Tao shook his head and smiled bitterly, saying, countless facts have proven that without their parents' blessing, it's hard for a couple to find true happiness. There's another way, Zhou Yuchen said straightforwardly. Let Du Yi get pregnant with your child. By then, even if her parents oppose it, it won't matter. Zhou Qingjian, who had been silent, said, stop coming up with such ridiculous ideas. Zhou Yuchen said that parents who truly care for their daughter would never make such demands. Because everyone knows that even if the man is wealthy and suppresses his anger to meet the woman's demands, this issue will inevitably become a source of conflict for the couple after marriage. Since her parents have this attitude, and both young people are deeply in love with each other, the only solution is to have a child before marriage. Once the child is born, everything will fall into place. Just as Cheng Tao was about to speak, his phone suddenly rang. He picked it up and saw that it was a call from Du Yi. Chapter 334 Directly getting the certificate. Where are you, Cheng Tao? I'm at my third uncle's house. What's wrong? I had a big fight with my parents and have nowhere to go. Cheng Tao's expression changed, and he immediately stood up, saying, I'll come pick you up. I'm at the KFC on Qingyang Road. Okay, wait for me. After hanging up the phone, Cheng Tao said, Yi had a big argument with her parents. I'm going to pick her up. Brother, can I borrow your car? Zhou Yuchen stood up and chuckled. I'll go with you, just to meet this future sister-in-law. Su Xiaowan said, Xiao Chun, if you can bring Yi home for a meal, that would be great. Zhou Yuchen made an okay gesture and said, no problem. On the way, Cheng Tao enviously said, cousin, your car must be worth 2 to 3 million, right? Zhou Yuchen nodded and said, almost. Did you buy the house where my third uncle and aunt live too? Yes. I bought 2 apartments in Lijiang Garden. It's closer, so I can take care of them more easily. How much did that cost? Less than 90 million for both apartments. Cheng Tao gasped and said, cousin, which company do you work for? This is too shocking. Which company would want someone who has been to prison? I started my own business despite the odds. And luckily, I succeeded, which allowed me to buy a house. You're amazing. Unlike me, I don't even have the courage to start a business. I originally planned to be a teacher at Yunhai University, but after things went wrong, I had no choice but to go into business. If there had been another way, I wouldn't have had to come out. Perhaps it's just the way things turned out. Zhou Yuchen glanced at him and said, Taozi, do you have any ideals? Cheng Tao laughed. Brother, we're all adults now. Who still talks about ideals? Zhou Yuchen self-deprecatingly replied, that's true. 15 minutes later, the car came to a steady stop in front of the KFC on Qingyang Road. As soon as he got out of the car, Zhou Yuchen saw a girl running out of the store, throwing herself at Cheng Tao and crying loudly. Without a doubt, this girl must be Du Yi. Yi, don't cry. I'm here for you. Cheng Tao felt uneasy as he comforted her repeatedly. After a while of crying, Du Yi lifted her head from Cheng Tao's embrace, looking at him with swollen eyes, and asked, are you going to break up with me? Cheng Tao paused for a moment and said, Yi, your parents' demands are something I could never meet, even in 10 years. Du Yi wiped her tears and asked, do you love me? Cheng Tao nodded without hesitation. Yes, I love you very much. Du Yi then took out the household registration book from her bag and said, I don't want a house, nor do I want a betrothal gift. If you love me, let us go register tomorrow. What a girl who is gentle yet strong-willed. Zhou Yuqin was greatly impressed, looking at Du Yi with admiration. Cheng Tao was completely stunned, followed by a wave of emotion as he choked out. Yi, I swear I will love you for a lifetime. A girl can so resolutely marry herself. If Cheng Tao hesitated, what kind of man would he be? The two embraced tightly. Noticing the passers-by around them were watching, Zhou Yuqin coughed and said, well, Taozi, how about we head home first and discuss the marriage certificate later? Du Yi then realized there was someone standing beside her, and her face turned red as she hurriedly put away the household registration book. Cheng Tao said, Yi, let me introduce you. This is my cousin, Zhou Yuqin. Du Yi replied, hello, Chen Gu. Zhou Yuqin smiled and said, nice to meet you. How should I address you? Du Yi replied, you can just call me Yi. Zhou Yuqin nodded and said, all right. Yi, my parents and Taozi's parents are at home and would like to invite you for dinner. What do you think? Du Yi nodded and said, okay. Zhou Yuqin said, then let's get in the car. Soon, the three returned to Lijiang Garden. As soon as Du Yi entered, everyone stood up. After some greetings, Zhou Yuqin straightforwardly said, Aunt, Uncle, Yi has brought her household registration book from home and wants to get a marriage certificate with Taozi tomorrow. Huh, this. Cheng Yinshu and Zhou Yaling were both stunned. Du Yi bit her lip and said, Uncle, Aunt, the reason my parents made such unreasonable demands is that they really want Cheng Tao to back off. They hope I can marry the son of my mom's old classmate, but I don't want that. I just want to be with Taozi, and I hope you two can support us. Upon hearing Du Yi's words, everyone looked at her differently. They all understood that by doing this, Du Yi was undoubtedly gambling her whole life on Cheng Tao. Shen Jingyun tugged at Zhou Yuqin's sleeve and whispered, this girl is very brave. Zhou Yuqin nodded, saying exactly. Zhou Yaling was so moved that tears streamed down her face. She held Du Yi's hand and said, what merit does Taozi have to make you make such a big sacrifice? Child, don't worry. If you marry Taozi, I will treat you like my own daughter. Du Yi immediately burst into tears, hugging Zhou Yaling and sobbing. Her greatest fear was that Cheng Tao's family would refuse to accept her because of her parents' unreasonable demands. Now, she finally felt relieved. 10 minutes later, the family sat together for dinner. After several rounds of drinks and dishes, Zhou Qingjian asked, Taozi, where are you living now? Cheng Tao replied, I rented a little over 40 square meters apartment next to my workplace. Zhou Qingjian said, if you and Yi get your marriage certificate tomorrow, then you need to start considering buying a house. Cheng Tao helplessly said, the housing prices in Yunhai are rising every day. With my current situation, I can't afford it at all. Cheng Yinshu said, your mom and I can put together 800,000, which should be enough for a down payment. Cheng Tao smiled wryly and said, the prices in the second and third rings of Yunhai have already reached 30,000. It seems like they will keep rising. Given the salary levels of Yi and me, paying off the mortgage might not even guarantee a basic living. Zhou Yaling exclaimed, are housing prices in big cities this high now? That's quite shocking. Yaling, it's okay. Su Xiaowan pointed to Zhou Yuqing and said, your nephew is now quite the upstart. If Taozi needs money, he can borrow from him without interest. Xiaoqing, say something. Zhou Yuqing smiled and said, you've already given the decree. What else can I say? Cheng Tao's face lit up with joy. Bro, are you really willing to lend me money? Zhou Yuqing replied, Yi's parents made a good point. If you're buying, it should be a property in a good school district. If I'm not mistaken, in 5 years, properties in good locations within school districts will at least triple in value. Especially houses around good schools, it's possible for them to increase 4 to 5 times. Taozi, let me share a money-making tip with you. You two can get your marriage certificate tomorrow and then check out the school district properties in the second ring. It's best to buy one over 150 square meters. Whatever the price difference is, I'll cover it. After you buy it, live there for 2 to 3 years. When the price skyrockets, sell it and then buy a 120 square meter property in the third ring. With this back and forth, not only can you pay me back, but you might also make a profit of 1 to 2 million. Chapter 335 Are you a billionaire? Cheng Tao frowned and said, the average price of school district housing in the second ring is 30,000, and 150 square meters costs 4,500,000. Adding on parking and renovations, it will take about 5 million. I have only saved 100,000 after working for 2 years. With my parents' 80,000. I still need 410,000 more. Du Yi said, I have also saved 100,000. Zhou Yuqin looked at Du Yi appreciatively and said, Taozi, I can lend you 450,000 without any interest. But we are like brothers, so we need to keep clear accounts. You have to write a promissory note for me. Of course. Cheng Tao raised his glass and said, cousin, thank you. Cheng Yinshu also raised his glass and said, Xiaochun, I will toast you too. Your generosity has solved a big problem for our family. Zhou Yuqin said, Uncle, Taozi, we are all family. No need to be so polite. The three clinked their glasses and drank the wine in one gulp. Zhou Qingjian smiled and said, Taozi, once you buy a house, you'll be settled in Yanhai. If you need any help in the future, just call your brother. Cheng Tao nodded and said, I will definitely trouble my cousin in the future. Zhou Yaling couldn't help but ask, Xiao Chun, what do you do for a living? How did you earn so much money? Zhou Yuqin replied, I run 2 companies. I guess you could say I've succeeded in entrepreneurship. Cheng Tao pressed further, brother, what are your companies called? It would be embarrassing if someone asks and I don't know. Zhou Yuqin said, one is called Yuechen Gaming Company, and the other is called Kuanping Group. Cheng Tao exclaimed, Yuechen Gaming Company? That sounds somewhat familiar. Du Yi excitedly said, of course it sounds familiar. The games we usually play, Fruit Hero and Leisure Elimination, were developed by Yuechen Gaming Company. And the Kuanping batteries developed by Kuanping Group almost monopolized the global smartphone battery market. Even international giant Jiaoxing Group actively seeks cooperation with them. Industry insiders estimate that Kuanping Group's annual revenue is at least over 10 billion. No way. Cheng Tao asked incredulously. Cousin, you are actually a billionaire? Cheng Yanshu and Zhou Yaling also looked shocked. They knew their nephew had become wealthy, buying houses and cars for his uncle and aunt. But being this rich was beyond their imagination. Zhou Yuqin chuckled and said, what? Doesn't it seem like it? Cheng Tao replied, I just find it a bit unbelievable. Zhou Yuqin said, it's just good luck. How do you know so much about Yuechen Gaming Company and Kuanping Group? Du Yi explained, because I work at an investment company, so their names are well known to me. However, I have to go through the resignation process tomorrow to find a new job. Cheng Tao asked why. Du Yi said, because the vice president of that investment company is my mom's old classmate, and he is keen to matchmake me with his son. I have wanted to resign for a long time, but my parents strongly disagreed. Cheng Tao held Du Yi's hand and said, I wish I could have reached Yanhai earlier. Du Yi smiled and replied, it's not too late now. Zhou Yuqin asked, what major are you studying? Du Yi answered, I major in financial management and minor in accounting. Zhou Yuqin's interest was piqued, and he said, would you be interested in working in the finance department of my company? You just mentioned that our company has annual revenues exceeding 100 billion. With that much money, I'm not too comfortable without someone I trust keeping an eye on it. Du Yi looked at Cheng Tao and asked, what do you think? Cheng Tao replied, of course I trust my cousin's company, but it's ultimately your decision. Du Yi thought for a moment and said, cousin, I hope you will take care of me in the future. Zhou Yuqin laughed and said, I can't promise much, but I guarantee your salary will be much higher than Tao Zi's, helping you establish your position in the family. Everyone burst into laughter. Su Xiaowan then said, all right, everything is settled. Let us toast to Tao Zi and Yi for a happy life and a blissful family. Cheers. After a hearty meal, everyone took a walk in the community. Zhou Yuqin pulled Cheng Tao aside to ask about the Zhou family. From Cheng Tao, he learned that the elder Mr. Zhou was in decent health. The eldest son Zhou Qingjiang had retired from his deputy county position, and the second son Zhou Qingtong would retire from his current role in 2 years. Zhou Qingjiang's son, Zhou Yuming, worked at a well-known communications group in Pengcheng and was doing quite well. Zhou Qingtong had a son and a daughter. The son, Zhou Yukuan, was not doing well and had become a street thug, while the daughter, Zhou Shui, had secured a job with the municipal power supply company after graduation. Cheng Tao had long heard from his parents about how Zhou Yuqin's name had been removed from the family tree by the elder Mr. Zhou, and he cautiously asked, cousin, do you think you will never forgive the Zhou family? Zhou Yuqin chuckled and said, without love or hate, what is there to forgive? To me, they are just strangers. Cheng Tao asked, haven't you thought about revenge? Zhou Yuqin countered, how would I get revenge? Send someone to beat them up? In the end, it would be my father who has to clean up the mess. Cheng Tao nodded in agreement. Zhou Yuqin then inquired about Du Yi's family and learned that her father was the captain of the traffic police team and her mother was an associate professor at Yanhai University of Technology, leaving him speechless. A government employee and a respectable associate professor, yet their focus seemed solely on money. How absurd. The next morning, Cheng Tao and Du Yi happily arrived at the marriage registration office hand in hand. To their surprise, Du Yi's father, Du Zhengyuan, and mother, Zhang Yuran, were already inside. Du Yi's expression changed drastically as she exclaimed, Dad, Mom, what are you doing here? Don't call us that. We have no daughter like you, Zhang Yuran said coldly. Her face dark and full of anger. Du Zhengyuan said coldly, when we discovered that your household registration book was missing, we knew that you too wanted to register secretly. You have always been obedient since you were little. I never expected you to do something like this. Du Yi took a deep breath and declared loudly, I like Cheng Tao, and I want to marry him. I don't like the person you introduced. Zhang Yuran angrily said, shut up. We are all doing this for your own good. Tears streamed down Du Yi's face as she replied, I can't feel your good intentions. You only make me feel like a commodity, and you want to sell me to a wealthy man. Chapter 336. Registering marriage inside the marriage registration office. 5 or 6 pairs of newlyweds had already arrived. Upon hearing the argument between Du Yi and her parents, everyone turned to look at them. Dare you to bet? This must be the girl's parents trying to break up the couple for money. Isn't that obvious? I didn't expect such things to happen around us. People have really changed. The crowd whispered among themselves. Zhang Yuran pointed at Cheng Tao and said sternly, he's just a country bumpkin from a small county. Marrying him will only bring you hardship. What future does someone working in the forestry department have? He'll never be able to afford a house in his lifetime. Du Yi replied, my dad also came from a small place, so why did you marry him? Zhang Yuran countered, can he compare to your dad? Du Yi retorted, why not? Cheng Tao said, Auntie Wei. Shut up. Who are you calling auntie? Zhang Yuran pointed at Cheng Tao angrily. You're the one who used sweet words to charm me. Let me tell you, if you dare to get the certificate today, you'll have to step over my dead body. Damn, this woman is fierce. Judging by her attire, she should be from a high social class. But her way of speaking is like a shrew. This is a classic case of not judging a book by its cover. I think I know that person. She is the captain of the traffic police team. With such qualities, how can she be a captain? Hearing the discussions around him, Du Jingyuan felt his face flush with embarrassment. He took out his phone and directly called Cheng Yanxiu, asking to meet at the hotel from yesterday. Cheng Tao, I've already arranged to meet your parents. Let us go there now. Some things need to be clarified. Just as Cheng Tao was about to agree, Du Yi held his hand and said, let us talk after we get the marriage certificate. Zhang Yuran was furious and said, are you trying to drive me crazy? Du Yi wiped the tears from her face and said, a property over 120 square meters and a bride price of 1 million. Don't even mention Cheng Tao. Can we afford that? Dad, Mom, I'm willing to endure hardships with Cheng Tao, and I'm ready to work hard to buy a car and a house with him. As for the son of that old classmate you like, whoever wants to marry him can go ahead. I don't want to. And after we get the marriage certificate, I'll resign in the afternoon. So you want to have to deal with it. Du Jingyuan said, are you out of your mind? Du Yi calmly replied, in my whole life, I've never been clearer than I am now. My happiness is in my own hands, and I won't accept anyone's advice. Du Jingyuan trembled with anger and said, if you dare to marry him, we will sever our relationship. Du Yi's expression became calm, her gaze unusually firm, and she said, I am your daughter, bound by natural blood ties. It's not something you can sever with just a few words. After speaking, she turned to the two security personnel approaching and said, comrades, we would like to register our marriage. Please do not let my parents disturb our normal exercise of the right to marry freely. The two security personnel had already looked unfavorably upon the situation with the individuals involved, and upon hearing her words, they immediately stepped in front of them and said, if you are not here to register your marriage, please do not disturb others. Zhang Yuran angrily replied, she is my daughter. One of the security personnel responded, first, she is an independent individual, and only second is she your daughter. The man at the front spoke loudly, you too, I can let you go ahead with your registration. Yes, I am willing to let you go first. We all are. What era is this, where parents still arrange marriages? It's truly beyond words. A group of young people began to voice their support for Cheng Tao and Du Yi. Du Yi thanked them and pulled Cheng Tao toward the registration window. Du Jingyuan tried to block them, but was stopped by the two security personnel. Get out of my way. Du Jingyuan shouted angrily. The security personnel calmly replied, sorry. Please do not disturb our staff's normal work. Du Jingyuan's face turned ashen with rage, but he had no way to proceed. Zhang Yuran quickly thought of a plan, weakened her legs, and pretended to faint. Du Jingyuan hurried to support Zhang Yuran, saying, your mother has fainted. We need to rush her to the hospital. Du Yi's expression changed, and she quickly approached Zhang Yuran, reaching out to tickle her. Zhang Yuran could not take it anymore, opened her eyes, and reached for Du Yi, but missed. Mom, stop pretending. No one can stop us from getting our certificate today. Du Yi hid behind the two security personnel and continued with the procedure. Other couples, seeing this, also stopped lining up and directly surrounded Du Jingyuan and Zhang Yuran. Du Jingyuan shouted, what are you doing? Is there a problem with us standing here? Exactly. We are here to register. We can stand wherever we want. It's none of your business. Realizing he had angered the crowd and seeing Cheng Tao and Du Yi enter to take photos, Du Jingyuan knew he could no longer stop them. He grabbed Zhang Yuran's hand and said while walking out, let us go find Cheng Yanxiu and settle this. Zhang Yuran, with tears in her eyes, followed Du Jingyuan out. Meanwhile, on the other side, Cheng Yanxiu frowned upon receiving a call. Zhou Yaling asked, what's wrong? Cheng Yanxiu sighed and said, Yi's parents must have guessed that Tao and Yi would secretly register their marriage, so they have been waiting at the marriage registration office. Now Du Jingyuan has asked me to meet him at yesterday's hotel to talk. Zhou Yaling frowned slightly and said, what should we do about this? Zhou Qingjian said, I'll go with you. Su Xiaowan rolled her eyes and said, what good will it do for you to go? Who knows you? I'll call Xiao Chen. He is much more reliable in handling things than you. Zhou Yaling quickly intervened, sister-in-law. Won't that disturb Xiao Chen's work? Su Xiaowan was on the phone, saying, let me ask him. Zhou Yuchen, who had just arrived at the gaming company, received a call from an important figure and immediately took a turn, heading to a luxury hotel. After arriving, Zhou Yuqin called his aunt, Zhou Yaling. Upon learning that they would arrive in 10 minutes, he sat in the car for a while. When Cheng Yinxiu and Zhou Yaling arrived at the hotel, he finally got out of the car. Xiao Chun, I appreciate your help this time. Aunt, please don't mention it. How about Taozi and Yi? They should have arrived already. Let's go inside. Soon, the three walked into a private room named Yinyuan Hall. At the top seats sat a middle-aged man and woman. The man had a square face and an imposing presence, while the woman was elegantly dressed, still exuding charm. Chapter 337. A perfect solution. Seeing the expressions of the couple, Zhou Yuqin felt a bit puzzled. The saying appearance reflects the heart made it difficult for him to associate this couple with the idea of selling their daughter. Sitting next to them were Cheng Tao and Du Yi. When they saw the three enter, they stood up. On the table in the box lay 2 red documents, which were unmistakably marriage certificates. Didn't he block them? Zhou Yuqin silently gave the young couple a thumbs up. Cheng Yinxiu and Zhou Yaling had clearly seen the marriage certificates as well. They exchanged glances, and a hint of joy appeared in their eyes. Brother Du, sister-in-law, we. Before Cheng Yinxiu could finish, Zhang Yuran pointed at Zhou Yuqin and asked, who is he? This was clearly an attempt to seize the initiative and control the situation. Zhou Yuqin understood these negotiation tactics well, so he confidently stepped forward to Du Zhengyuan and Zhang Yuran, extended his hand, and smiled, saying, I am Zhou Yuqin, Cheng Tao's cousin. Captain Du, Professor Zhang, it's a pleasure to meet you. With sharp yet calm eyes, Zhou Yuqin's actions immediately made Du Zhengyuan and Zhang Yuran realize that this young man was not ordinary. Du Zhengyuan unconsciously stood up, shook his hand, and said, hello. Zhang Yuran, who had intended to use the opportunity to speak, was also taken aback and reluctantly nodded at him. After the introductions, Zhou Yuqin sat down next to Cheng Tao, picked up the marriage certificate, glanced at it, and said, Uncle Du, and Zhang, I know that both of you are very upset about Cheng Tao and Yi getting married without your consent. I have a daughter as well, and if she were to do this in the future, I would probably be even angrier than you two as her father. Parents love their children and plan for their future. Uncle, Aunt, I believe I have a good eye. From the moment I walked in, I could tell that you are not the type to value wealth over character. At this point, I think it's best for us to calm down and lay all the issues on the table for discussion. Zhang Yuran adjusted her sitting posture and said, don't flatter us. We are indeed concerned about wealth. What kind of city is Yunhai? It has the highest housing prices and the highest cost of living. We don't look down on people from small places because we also came from one. That is precisely why we understand the difficulties of establishing ourselves in Yunhai. As she spoke, tears streamed down Zhang Yuran's face. We want a house because we don't want our daughter to work hard for decades and still be unable to pay off a loan. The 1 million in betrothal gifts is not for us. We think of giving them an extra 500,000 when they marry. If Cheng Tao doesn't have this ability, why should we give our daughter to him to suffer? Zhou Yuqin nodded and said, Aunt Zhang, I believe what you said. But from an objective standpoint, your demands, let alone my aunt's family, are something that over 99% of families in Yunhai cannot achieve, even if they sold everything they own. To be honest with both of you, after hearing your conditions yesterday, I blurted out a question. Is this marrying off a daughter or selling a daughter? Later, when I found out that Yi has a younger brother, I subconsciously thought that your request for a bride price was for your son to marry in the future. It wasn't until the day when we met that I realized I was being a bit subjective. Du Jingyuan sighed and said, you have already obtained the marriage certificate. So what's the use of saying this now? Zhou Yuqing replied, of course it matters. At the very least, it can clear up misunderstandings and resolve any concerns everyone has. He continued, Uncle, Annie, my aunt, and uncle are all honest people. Yi marrying into the Chung family, first and foremost, means she won't be mistreated. Zhou Yaling echoed, that is for sure. We will treat her like our own daughter. Zhou Yuqing went on, as for Xiao Dao, there is no need to say more. He worked hard to come to Yunhai, passed the civil service exam, which shows his attitude towards Yi. Zhang Yuran nodded and said, we are not worried that they will treat Yi poorly, but how will the housing issue be resolved? Zhou Yuqing replied, we discussed the housing issue last night. Xiao Dao, why don't you report the solution to Uncle and Andy? Cheng Tao cleared his throat and repeated the plan proposed by Zhou Yuqing. After hearing it, Du Jingyuan pondered and said, how do you know that housing prices will increase several times in the future? What if they drop instead? What will the young couple do then? Zhou Yuqing smiled and said, it's simple. If the price of the house they purchase doesn't increase by more than double within 3 years, I will give them this house without them having to pay a penny. This can be written into the agreement. Du Jingyuan showed an incredulous expression and asked, Cheng Tao is just your cousin, not your brother. Why are you so good to him? Zhou Yuqing replied, my aunt and uncle have treated me well since I was little. 5 years ago, because I was misled by the wrong people, I ended up in prison. If it weren't for my aunt and uncle helping out, my parents might not have made it through. Plus, Xiao Tao and I have grown up together and have a great relationship. So, whenever it comes to Xiao Tao's matters, it's only natural for me to help as much as I can. Hearing Zhou Yuqing's words, Cheng Tao felt deeply moved. Zhou Yaling even had tears in her eyes. Those who understand gratitude easily gain the goodwill of others. Du Jungyuan and Zhang Yuran looked at Zhou Yuqing with much softer expressions. Zhou Yuqing smiled and asked, Uncle Du, Aunt Zhang, do you have any other questions? Zhang Yuran said, Yi's job was arranged through an old classmate of mine, and we want to match Yi with his son. Now, Mom. Du Yi directly interrupted her, saying, I have already decided to work at my cousin's company. Zhang Yuran was taken aback and quickly asked, What company? What is the salary? Du Yi replied, It's Kunpeng Group, but I don't know the salary yet. Zhang Yuran frowned slightly and said, I haven't heard of that company. Du Jingyuan hesitated and said, It does sound a bit familiar to me. Zhou Yuqin said, Aunt Zhang, don't worry. I won't treat Yi unfairly. By the way, Yi, what is your monthly salary at that investment company? Du Yi replied, My salary plus bonuses is around 10,000. Zhou Yuqin responded with an O and said, The ordinary employees in the finance department of Kunpeng Group earn 12,000 a month, with bonuses determined separately. It seems I don't need to intervene. Zhang Yuran said unhappily, We're all family. Can't you promote Yi a bit? Zhou Yuqin shook his head and said, Company policies must be strictly adhered to. The only benefit Yi can get is that her achievements won't be overlooked. Only with achievements can I legitimately promote her. Chapter 338, I Know Who You Are Bang. Du Jungyuan suddenly slapped the table, pointed at Zhou Yuqin, and excitedly said, I know who you are. Zhang Yuran furrowed her brows and asked, Why are you so surprised? What do you know? Du Jungyuan replied, Let me tell you. Kunpeng Group is a company that develops and manufactures mobile phone batteries and chargers, and it partners with almost all mobile phone manufacturers around the world. Some speculate that Kunpeng Group's profits will exceed billions. Even in the global communications industry, it can hold a significant position. Mr. Zhou, am I right? Upon hearing this, Zhang Yuran was instantly shocked into silence. Profits in the billions were truly beyond her imagination. Zhou Yuqin said, Uncle Du, you're older, just call me Xiao Zhou. Kunpeng Group was indeed founded by me. I was lucky to achieve some success, but it's nothing special. Du Jingyuan sighed and said, Xiao Zhou, I'm sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. Zhou Yuqin waved his hand and replied, You and Aunt Zhang care for your daughter and worry about her future. Today, I assure you that as long as I don't go bankrupt, Xiao Tao and E1T have any financial issues. With the billionaire's personal promise, Du Jingyuan and Zhang Yuran naturally had no objections. In fact, if they had known earlier that Cheng Tao had such a cousin, they wouldn't have made such a scene. With the matter settled, the next step was to adjust their attitude. They had to give Du Jingyuan and Zhang Yuran a way out. Otherwise, it would be too awkward for everyone sitting together. Zhou Yuqin said, Taozi, you and E went to the marriage registry to get your certificate without informing both sets of parents. This is a huge disrespect to both families. Xiao Tao as a man. Shouldn't you apologize to uncle and aunt? Cheng Tao stood up, walked in front of Du Jingyuan, and Zhang Yuran bowed, and was just about to speak when Zhou Yuqin kicked the back of his knee, causing him to kneel down. Everyone was startled. Zhou Yuqin frowned and said, How did you learn your manners? Can you apologize to your elders while standing? Or do your in-laws not deserve this bow? It's my fault. I should be the one kneeling. Cheng Tao wasn't he foolish and quickly understood Zhou Yuqin's intention. Du Yi also stood up and knelt beside Cheng Tao, creating a harmonious scene. Zhou Yuqin secretly gave Du Yi a thumbs up in his heart. She was a girl who was both wise and perceptive, and with a few years of experience, she could definitely become a strong support in his career. Cheng Tao said, Uncle, Aunt, it was I who forced Yi to secretly get the certificate today. You can scold or hit me. I have no complaints, but I hope you can understand my feelings for Yi. In front of my parents and you too, I, Cheng Tao, swear that I will only love Du Yi in this life. Please believe me, Uncle and Aunt. Du Yi said, Dad, Mom, I was wrong. Please don't be angry. Du Jingyuan sighed and said, You can get up now. From now on we are family. As soon as Zhou Yuqing heard this, he quickly climbed up and said, Xiao Tao, didn't you hear what Uncle Du said? We are family now. You should quickly serve tea to your parents-in-law. Du Jingyuan was both amused and exasperated. No wonder this person could become such a successful entrepreneur. The reaction was just too quick. Cheng Tao hurriedly got up, picked up the teapot, and filled it for Du Jingyuan. Then he held the teacup, knelt on the ground, and said, Dad, please drink tea. Du Jingyuan took the teacup and took a sip. Following suit, Cheng Tao knelt and served a cup to Zhang Yuran as well. Now that it has come to this, you must treat Yi well and never let her suffer, he added. Don't worry, Mom. I will take good care of Yi for the rest of my life. Cheng Tao assured. Zhang Yuran responded with a sound of agreement and took a sip of tea. Cheng Yinxiu and Zhou Yaling exchanged glances, both breathed a sigh of relief, their faces beaming with smiles. Next, Du Yi also followed Cheng Tao's example and served a cup of tea to Cheng Yinxiu and Zhou Yaling. Zhou Yuqing laughed and said, Uncle Du, Aunt Zhang, little aunt, little uncle, you haven't paid the tea ceremony fees yet. Don't forget to make it up later. Zhou Yaling happily held Du Yi's hand and said, we won't forget. Du Jingyuan then said, in-laws, since the kids have already gotten their certificates, shouldn't we discuss the wedding next? Cheng Yinshu smiled wryly and said, to be honest, I really don't understand the customs here in Yunhai. Zhou Yuqing suggested. Uncle Du, little uncle, I think it's better to wait until they pick a house before discussing the wedding. Zhang Yuran nodded and said, yes, first settle the house. Get it renovated, then discuss the wedding details. I know there's a Longxing community near the first primary school in Yunhai. If we can buy a place there, it will definitely sell for a good price in the future. Du Jingyuan nudged her and said, don't talk nonsense. Zhou Yuqing estimated that the prices in Longxing community would be high, thinking that Zhang Yuran was trying to take advantage of him with her suggestion. What is the average price of that community? What is the area like? He inquired. Zhou Yuqing didn't feel annoyed by Zhang Yuran's intentions. After all, it was understandable for a mother to do this for her daughter. Zhang Yuran immediately perked up and said, most of them are around 160 square meters. And the average price is quite high, around 40,000 to 50,000. Zhou Yuqing nodded and said, Taozi, take E to have a look this afternoon. If it seems suitable, then settle on it. Cheng Tao suddenly found himself in a dilemma. If he refused, it would be disrespectful to Zhang Yuran. If he accepted, he felt a bit awkward. Du Yi sensed Cheng Tao's predicament and said, cousin, thank you for your kindness. But this house is too expensive. We can't take such a big advantage from you. Zhou Yuqing waved his hand and said, I'll cover the cost of the house. You can handle the renovation. When the price goes up to over 120,000, you can sell the house as planned and pay me back. By the way, what kind of car do you like? Huh? Du Yi was taken aback and said, cousin, what do you mean? Zhou Yuqing smiled and replied, I'll give you a car as a gift. Consider it a contribution for you too. Du Yi hurriedly said, that is not appropriate. Zhou Yuqing stood up and said, if I say it's fine, then it's fine. Uncle, aunt, little uncle, I have some matters to attend to at the company, so I'll take my leave. Du Jingyuan said, then let us head back too. We can discuss the wedding details later. In-laws, what do you think? Cheng Yinshu nodded and said, sounds good. Soon, everyone left the private room. Since Du Yi needed to go house hunting in the afternoon, she did not return home with her parents. Chapter 339. Something happened with IQ after sending the two away. Zhou Yaling held Zhou Yuqing's hand and gratefully said, Xiaoqin, this time it's really thanks to you. Otherwise, your uncle and I wouldn't know what to do. Zhou Yuqing smiled and replied, Xiaogu, there's no need to be so polite. Xiaodao, hurry up and take care of the car and house issues. I might need to go on a business trip in a few days. Cheng Tao said shyly, cousin, I really don't know what to say. Zhou Yuqing patted his shoulder and said, then don't say anything. Just hurry up and have a big fat boy with you. All right, I'm leaving. Watching Zhou Yuqing's car slowly drive away, Cheng Yinshu exclaimed, look at how Xiaoqin handles problems. He really has the demeanor of a big boss. Cheng Tao laughed and said, Dad, cousin is already a big shot in the business world, okay? Cheng Yinshu nodded and said, that's true. On the other side, Du Jingyuan was driving while talking to Zhang Yuran about today's events. This Zhou Yuqing is really impressive. He solved the problem and gave us face. It's truly a win-win situation. Zhang Yuran sighed and said, to be honest, I still feel a bit unwilling. Yi's looks, temperament, character, and abilities are all excellent. How could she end up with someone from a small place? Du Jingyuan said, you'd better not treat Cheng Tao with that attitude in the future. Now that they are married, if your relationship with Cheng Tao is not good, it will be Yi who ends up in a difficult position. Zhang Yuran nodded and said, don't worry, I understand. Lao Du, are you really not angry at all regarding Yi's actions? Du Jingyuan smiled and said, I was quite angry at first. But after learning about Cheng Tao's relationship with Zhou Yuqing, I actually feel quite lucky. Do you know what Zhou Yuqing's other identity is besides being a billionaire? Zhang Yuran said unhappily, stop keeping me in suspense, just tell me. Du Jingyuan said, during a drinking session, I heard our director mention that Zhou Yuqing's future father-in-law is the 6th leader of the current Yunhai city government, Shen Chenggang. Really? Zhang Yuran exclaimed with surprise, that's fantastic. Du Jingyuan continued, with such a strong backing, Cheng Tao's future is limitless. At the very least, he will definitely be better off than I am. Zhang Yuran asked, does that mean you could benefit from it too? Du Jingyuan shook his head and said, connections are something that diminish with use. I'm getting older and have no room for advancement. Even if I shamelessly approached Leader Shan, I'd only be able to get a minor promotion, which isn't very meaningful. Cheng Tao is different. As long as he is motivated and achieves results, he will have a smooth path up to deputy director. After that, it will depend on his abilities and luck. Zhang Yuran asked, what do you think of Cheng Tao? Du Jingyuan pondered for a moment and said, he has a strong character and is calm in handling matters. He is a good candidate for politics. Honey, the current situation is that our daughter relies on Zhou Yuqin for financial support, and our son-in-law relies on him for career advancement. You should know how to treat Zhou Yuqin now, right? Zhang Yuran said, understood. Two people spent their lives wandering through the clouds, but never managed to stand out, largely due to their narrow perspectives and tendency to look down on others. Although Zhou Yuqin could tell that Du Jungyuan and Zhang Yuran were not the type to be swayed by money, his overall evaluation of them was not high, especially because Zhang Yuran's habit of being petty was quite off-putting. However, this had nothing to do with Zhou Yuqin. After leaving the hotel, he arrived at the Yueqin Game Company. Following the explosive success of Temple Escape, the company's influence in the global gaming industry had significantly increased, leading to the emergence of the slogan products from Yueqin are guaranteed to be high-quality online. This was a campaign orchestrated by the PR department, and it proved to be very effective, bringing considerable benefits to the next 3 games. As soon as he stepped into the president's office and before he could pour himself a cup of tea, Xingtong pushed the door open and walked in. Brother Chun, something big has happened. Zhou Yuqin raised an eyebrow and asked, is there a problem with game operations? Xingtong quickly replied, it's not our issue. It's with IQ Communications Group. Zhou Yuqin's interest was piqued as he asked, what happened? Xingtong explained, the founder of IQ Communications Group, Aigu Ku, has stepped down from his position as president and announced that he intends to auction off 16 of his shares. Zhou Yuqin's eyes lit up as he inquired, is there some kind of internal problem? Xingtong said, I heard from an old friend that Aigu Ku's departure is related to mobile communication software. It turned out that 6 months ago, Aigu Ku had a fierce conflict with the shareholders and management of IQ Communications Group. Aigu Ku was determined to develop a mobile communication software app, believing that with the rise of smartphones, communication in the future would rely on phones rather than computers. However, most shareholders and management of IQ Communications Group felt that having the IQ mobile app was sufficient and there was no need to start from scratch with a new software. This situation mirrored that of another communications group, though the latter did not insist on their approach. Aigu Ku, known for his pride and strong will, had confidence in his judgment. After unsuccessful persuasion, he exercised his presidential authority to form a team for development. His actions were met with resistance from shareholders and management, and even his old partners who had started the company with him firmly opposed him, believing his approach was meaningless and detrimental to the IQ mobile software. As the founder of IQ Communications Group, Aigu Ku had a veto power, but when it came to raising funds, investors insisted on adding a clause to the agreement. If all investors collectively opposed him, Aigu Ku would have to comply unconditionally. Among these investors was Chang Yukuan, a close friend of Aigu Ku. They were not only classmates from high school and college, but also good partners in their entrepreneurial journey. It was because of Chang Yukuan's presence that Aigu Ku agreed to this clause. To Aigu Ku's shock, Chang Yukuan voted against him at the board meeting, which he could hardly believe. The two had a heated argument in the office. The most unacceptable thing for Aigu Ku was that all the mid to senior management within the company had aligned themselves with Chang Yukuan, leaving him almost as a figurehead. The investors on the board were also very optimistic about Chang Yukuan. Any proposal from Aigu Ku could only pass if Chang Yukuan agreed. Otherwise, it would not get approved by the board at all. As a result, Aigu Ku had effectively become a nominal president, with all power resting in the hands of his former good brother, Chang Yukuan. Aigu Ku, who had been proud all his life, could not tolerate such a situation. So he decided to leave the telecommunications group, sell his shares, and then establish a new company focused on the development and operation of mobile communication apps. Chapter 340 Negotiating with Aigu Ku. The board was very frustrated with the auction of shares by Aigu Ku, yet they had no way to intervene. After hearing Aigu Ku's story, Zhou Yuqin's eyes lit up. According to the previous plan, after the successful development of the Mi Xian app, Zhou Yuqin needed a reliable partner to cooperate. Aigu Ku was clearly the best candidate. Firstly, he was the former president of the IQ Communications Group and certainly had ways to use IQ software to promote Mi Xian. Secondly, Aigu Ku had the capability, strength, and resources. The market value of the IQ Communications Group was 2 trillion, and a 16% stake was equivalent to 320 billion, making him far wealthier than Zhou Yuqin. After their collaboration, there would be almost no need for external financing, which could maximize the development of Mi Xian. Thinking of this, Zhou Yuqin said, Old Zheng, please investigate Aigu Ku's situation thoroughly. I might need to collaborate with him. Zheng Tong was slightly taken aback and asked, Brother Chun, what do you have to collaborate with him on? Zhou Yuqin smiled and replied, It's not about our Yueqin Game Company. Zheng Tong acknowledged and said nothing further. Turning to leave. That afternoon, Zheng Tong brought back the latest news about Aigu Ku. Aigu Ku was in negotiations with the IQ Communications Group to discuss the sale of shares. The shareholders of IQ Communications Group hoped to internally absorb Aigu Ku's shares, but Aigu Ku disagreed, seemingly wanting to show them a thing or two before leaving. Zheng Tong had a wide social circle and surprisingly had Aigu Ku's contact information. After obtaining Aiguko's number, Zhou Yuqin called without any hesitation. Hello, this is Aiguko. Who is this? A deep and steady voice came from the other end. Hello, Mr. Aiguko. I am Zhou Yuqin from Yueqin Game Company. Oh, it's Mr. Zhou. What can I do for you? Aiguko was not unfamiliar with Zhou Yuqin, a rising star in the online gaming and mobile communications industry. After the success of Fruit Hero, Zhou Yuqin's related information had already appeared on Aiguko's desk. Later, the successive successes of Angry Birds and Leisure Match, along with the global sales of Kunpeng batteries, made Aiguko feel like the new ways were pushing the old ones forward. Aiguko did not expect that Zhou Yuqin would call at this critical moment. Did he want to make a bold move and swallow the shares in his hands? That seemed impossible. He shouldn't have that capability. Zhou Yuqin said, Mr. Aiguko, I heard you are very interested in mobile communication apps and even formed a research and development team for it. I would like to ask, after leaving IQ Communications Group, will you continue with the development? Aiguko's mind raced, and he replied, Mr. Zhou, what do you mean? Zhou Yuqin was very candid, saying, Mr. Aiguko, like you, I also see great potential in mobile communication software apps. Although IQ software and Hello software are good, they are very inconvenient to operate and do not meet the future needs of people. To be honest with you, my team is developing a mobile communication software app under the leadership of an academician. It will be ready for the market in about 3 months. If you're interested, we can collaborate. In a villa in Pengcheng, Aiguko was taken aback by Zhou Yuqin's words, nearly dropping his phone. His first thought was that someone had gotten a head start. Mr. Zhou, since you have developed the app, why do you want to collaborate with me? First, I don't have the time to manage a company. Second, I lack the resources for promotion. And third, my funding is insufficient. Do you want me to work for you? It's a collaboration, not working for me. I can hand over management rights to you. I only want a share of the profits. Why should I collaborate with you? I can start my own company. Mr. AI, I have just one question for you. In your plans, will your mobile communication app eventually become part of people's daily lives? For example, can it be used for payments? That's impossible. I can't. Aiguko fell silent for a moment and said, I think we need to meet and discuss. Zhou Yuqin smiled and replied, in a couple of days, I happen to need to go to Pengcheng. Please don't sell your shares in IQ Communication Group before we meet. Aiguko raised an eyebrow and asked, are you interested in buying? Zhou Yuqin said, once my mobile communication app is launched, IQ and Hello will undoubtedly face demise. Buying their shares is almost like throwing money into the water. Mr. AI, for a mobile app to succeed, the most important factor is traffic. At least half of the population in Xia country has an IQ number. If we can link IQ accounts with my app accounts, the traffic will surely skyrocket, making promotion much more effective. Upon hearing this, Aiguko felt uneasy. His mobile communication app hadn't even started, and yet the other party was already considering how to obtain traffic. The gap seemed too large. After pondering for a moment, Aiguko said, I will retain my shares. Let us meet in a couple of days. After hanging up, Aiguko picked up his coffee and walked to the window. His brow furrowed tightly. The development of events had completely exceeded his expectations. 6 months ago, Aiguko had investigated and found that major internet companies had no plans for mobile communication apps. He never expected Zhou Yuqin to have been working on it all along, and it would soon be released, which was undoubtedly a huge blow to Aiguko. From the information Zhou Yuqin revealed, it seemed he already had a comprehensive plan for development, promotion, and operation. The reason he sought collaboration with Aiguko was that he lacked suitable promotional channels. Wait, something's not right. This guy is trying to trick me. Aiguko suddenly realized something, quickly set his coffee cup on the windowsill, and hurried into his study. He checked Zhou Yuqin's materials and found that he had been in Sioux City 5 months ago and only started rising to prominence 3 months ago. In such a short period, it is impossible for Zhou Yuqin to develop a competent mobile communication app, let alone lead with the support of an academician. If it were so easy to recruit academicians, there would probably be academicians everywhere in the various departments of the organization by now. With this thought, Aiguko couldn't help but smile slightly. In the afternoon, Cheng Tao and Du Yi took a stroll around Longshan community and found a 166 square meter apartment that was already beautifully decorated and luxurious, priced at 9.6 million. During dinner at Su Xiuwan's home that night, Zhou Yuqin inquired about the house. Cheng Tao hesitated and didn't quite know how to bring it up. Zhou Yuqin put down his chopsticks and looked intently at Cheng Tao, saying, Xiao Tao, what is there to be shy about? You should know that whether it's 7 million or 10 million, it makes no difference to me. Chapter 341. Memories of the past. Cheng Tao said, Cousin, I mainly feel a bit embarrassed. That house cost 9,600,000, and I really can't bring myself to say it. Zhou Yuqin replied, Enough nonsense. After dinner, I'll give you a check for 10 million. Get the car and house sorted out in the next few days. Listen carefully. That Mercedes is a gift from us to Yi. Don't you dare embezzle it. Cousin, I. Cheng Tao hesitated for a long time, finally managing to say 2 words. Thank you. Zhou Yaling gratefully said, Xiao Chun, thank you. If it weren't for Zhou Yuchen, it would have taken Cheng Tao at least 10 to 20 years to have a house of his own in Yunhai, assuming housing prices didn't continue to rise. Now, with a car, a house, and a wife, they could finally relax. Zhou Yuchen smiled and said, "And we're family, so there's no need for formalities. Besides, this money has to be repaid." Cheng Yinshu said seriously, "Xiao Chun, we're not ignorant. If you had bought a house yourself with this 10 million and sold it a few years later, you could easily make a few million, even tens of millions. What you're doing now is essentially giving this money to Xiao Tao, allowing him to worry less about his future. This kindness cannot be repaid with just a few words." Zhou Yuchen replied, "Uncle, true feelings are revealed in times of difficulty. The reason I'm helping Taozi is that you and Anne extended a helping hand during our family's toughest times, helping us get through a crisis. Such kindness is rare and cannot be bought with money, nor can it be repaid with mere words. If it were those who took advantage of others' misfortunes, I wouldn't even give them 1,000. As soon as he said this, everyone understood who he was referring to. Seeing Zhou Yuchen's angry expression, Zhou Qingjian sighed inwardly. Zhou Yaling cautiously asked, "Xiao Chun, it's been 5 years. Can't you? It's impossible in this lifetime. Let us talk about the next." Zhou Yuchen interrupted Zhou Yaling directly. As the ancients said, knowing one's mistakes and correcting them is a great virtue. But some mistakes cause irreversible harm, and there is simply no chance to correct them. I haven't taken action against them, which is already being magnanimous. If it were someone else, I would have been far less polite. Zhou Yaling sighed and said, "What they did back then was indeed excessive and very hurtful." Zhou Yuchen asked, "Aunt, do you know why they treated me this way? I was about to be taken away, so why did they have to go the extra mile?" Zhou Yaling glanced at Zhou Qingjian, who looked somewhat gloomy. Su Xiaowan's gaze turned cold as she questioned, "Old Zhou, you know the reason, don't you?" Zhou Qingjian shook his head and said, "I don't know, just have some guesses." Su Xiaowan asked in a low voice, "What guesses?" Zhou Qingjian pondered for a moment and said, "Before Xiao Chun was taken in, my elder brother had hopes of advancing." Su Xiaowan looked at Zhou Yaling and asked, "Yaling, is this the reason?" Zhou Yaling responded with a hum, saying, "At that time, it was a critical period for my elder brother to transition from a deputy department head to a department head. There were 3 or 4 competitors, all quite capable. Xiaocheng is my brother's own nephew, which inevitably brought some negative influence. To avoid giving opponents any leverage to attack, my sisters-in-law encouraged the old man to remove Xiaocheng from the family tree." Su Xiaowan asked, "What does this have to do with the second sister-in-law?" Zhou Yaling explained, "As long as my elder brother takes a step up, he can promote the second brother from the regular section level to the deputy department level." "Ha ha, I see." Su Xiaowan was so angry that tears fell, gritting her teeth as she said, "For the sake of power, they can actually push their own nephew into the depths of despair. Good job." Shun Jingyun, who had been silent, also wore a face of indignation. Who would have thought that those with blood ties could do such things for their own advancement? The most crucial point was that Zhou Yucheng's situation might not even affect the others. It was just a slight possibility. One can only imagine the heartlessness of it all. Zhou Qingjian's expression was grim to the extreme. He had speculated about the events of that year, but had never dared to believe them. Now that his suspicions were confirmed, it was impossible to continue deceiving himself. The only one who remained unfazed was Zhou Yucheng. His face showed no signs of disturbance as he quietly remarked, "It's not worth the loss." "Utter foolishness." Cheng Yinshu added, "Indeed, it's very foolish. My elder brother and second brother originally had the opportunity to advance. Once this matter reached the county, everyone distanced themselves from them. Who would want to associate with someone who disregards even their own blood relatives? In the end, my elder brother retired at the deputy department level. Although the second brother is at the regular section level, he manages nothing but the archives, having no real power at all. In another year, he will retire too." Su Xiaowan said fiercely, "They deserve it." Zhou Yaling continued, "The old man regrets it now. But unfortunately, there is no medicine for regret in this world. Yinshu and I have seen how ruthless they are and dare not get too close. We only visit during festivals and give the old man 1,000 yuan each month. After all, Taozi is a chum. Who knows if they might sacrifice him to achieve some goal?" Su Xiaowan glanced at Zhou Qingjian and asked, "How much do you give the old man each month?" Zhou Qingjian replied, 1,002, and it's risen to 2,000 in the last 3 months. Su Xiaowan sneered, then reverted back to 1,002. "I absolutely will not allow you to use your son's money to honor those who once harmed him." Zhou Qingjian felt somewhat disheartened and said, "I have always used my own salary." Su Xiaowan huffed, "That's only because Xiaocheng has succeeded in his business. Otherwise, where would you get the money to be such a devoted son?" Zhou Qingjian's face turned pale, but he said nothing. He knew very well that Su Xiaowan was right. If Zhou Yucheng needed their help for marriage or buying a house, let alone honoring the old man, they wouldn't even be able to afford a toilet in a modest apartment. Not to mention, they also had a daughter to consider. Zhou Yuchen realized the situation was not good and quickly tried to mediate, saying, Mom, let's be clear. The old man has given my dad life. So it's only right for him to show filial piety. However, 2,000 each month is indeed a bit much. The old man has 3 sons and 1 daughter. So that's 4,000 in total, and with his own pension, that is comparable to the income of an average family. Su Xiaowan sneered and said, do you believe that once the old man falls ill and needs to be hospitalized, he won't be able to take out a single cent from his account? Zhou Yuqin waved his hand and replied, Mom, enough. I won't deal with them for the rest of my life. Su Xiaowan nodded and said, that's fine. Out of sight, out of mind.